Where's everybody? Well, okay, let's try this again. Whoops. Where's everybody? Oh, there we go. Okay, see waiting room. Jeff, I thought there was somebody else. What happened? Join. All right. There's Jeff. Are you there, Jeff?
Hey, Dave.
Oh, there you are. Turn you down a little bit. Okay. Make this full size again somehow. There we are. There we go. It's still bright. Too bright. Way too bright. Change it to the.
Calling Papa Victor 2, Charlie Papa. Papa Victor 2, Charlie Papa. Kilo Mike 6, Zulu Zulu Zulu. Over.
That's Enrique. So it turns out the WinLink meeting is tomorrow night, isn't it?
Beats me.
I don't know. I looked at the email. It said Friday,
Oh,
so I kind of assumed that they're wrong about that. Maybe it got rescheduled, and I didn't see the other email. There's supposed to be a meeting.
I don't pay any attention to the other stuff. I've got too much going on.
Yeah, somebody said yesterday. It says John Finch has joined the meeting, and I don't see him. Oh, he's on the wrong meeting. John, you can't do that. What did he do? He opened up the wrong meeting. Oh, okay. I got this. I got YouTube wrong. Okay. Let me fix. I tell you what. I don't know. I get too much thought into this. I'm really screwing things up here. Let's do this. Can I edit my? Yes, edit my YouTube. SPARC. September meeting 2020 general meeting. There we go. Glad it lets me do this. Save. Boy, was I confused when I saw that come up. I was like, what the heck? I thought I started the wrong Zoom meeting for a sec.
I got the headphones thing turned on, but it's coming through the speakers. It's funny.
I don't know what to tell you.
No, say something.
Hello, hello, testing, testing.
Going through the speakers. Huh.
I'm hearing music in the background. Is it from
Yeah, that's Jinder's watching King and I.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I tried to turn it down as much as I could.
Why you can't get the headphones to work? That's weird.
Well, let's see, that wouldn't make any difference. I got it plugged in here in front, so that would be fine. That's where I always have it plugged in.
We're still going to hear Ginger, though.
What's that?
We'll still hear Ginger because that's coming through the microphone.
Yeah.
If that's okay. We'll do is we'll mute you until unless you've got something to say, you can unmute yourself. Just have to deal with that. Oh, where is? Allow participants to mute themselves. Enable waiting room. No. Disable waiting room. There we go. Okay. Here I thought John was started, and what John did is he went to the wrong meeting, and I don't know how to tell him.
What's that, Dave?
John opened up the wrong meeting. He opened up the other meeting.
Oh.
Let me just see. It says, yeah, it's same with Ed. Ed Molodar started join the meeting. SPARC.net free for all. Time May. Oh, this. I'm sorry. This is an old email. No. May 6. What the heck? Oh, he opened a really old one.
That's funny. I hear you louder on the speakers with the headphones picked than I do on the speakers.
I don't know. I don't know what selection you're changing there. Fix my microphone.
Going to.
Does this have the right mic enabled? I assume it does. Oh. Here we are. General audio. Yep. Testing. Okay. All working good.
Huh. Boy, I don't know. Settings say it looks fine.
Yeah, I don't know why it would. Unplug it and plug it back in. Good idea.
See what that does. Say something.
Testing.
Still coming through the speakers. Huh.
That's weird.
Maybe I'll reboot.
No, we got a long way till the meeting.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I should have started. Probably shouldn't have started the stream so early. Oh well. Let me look in my email and see if other. Gosh, guys. I can't start another meeting. May have to start this over again. Here I am all by myself. It's too bad I can't grab people from another meeting. It looks like these guys are all joining the wrong meeting. This makes no sense. Did Jeff send the wrong email? Oh, that's the right one. There we go. I know, I started way early.
Hey there, Dave.
How's it
I guess
going?
I'm a little, huh?
I know, Randy, I'm early too. Jeff is the one that got me wrangled in, and then he decided he needed to reboot his computer.
Oh, okay. I just thought I walked out here just to see if the link was up yet.
For the longest time here, I've been sitting here all by myself going, where's everybody? But why did I start so darn early?
Well, I had to reel out my hard wire and everything to get this plugged in so I wouldn't be on a freeze city.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Well, somebody was talking about WinLink meeting, and I discovered that was tomorrow.
Oh, I thought they said it was tonight.
Well, at least the email I saw said it was Friday.
Yeah, I thought that he announced it was at 6 o'clock tonight, but that's more fake news, huh?
I don't know. I'm like I say, I just looked at my emails. I looked for it because I knew it. I saw it somewhere, and the one I saw said Friday. So anyway, I don't know.
Well, Jeff's a trying.
Jeff's trying to get in. His camera always burps.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, hear you. Okay. Also hear
Can't hear.
Handmaid's
Cannot
Tale.
see.
I can hear whatever your Ginger's listening to.
Headphones still aren't working. God damn it.
That's so weird.
Huh.
Darn computers, anyhow.
That's weird.
Do you have a plug in your speaker? Sometimes speakers have plugs in the front.
No, I haven't even touched them.
Sometimes the speakers have a plug for headphones.
Yeah, I can plug it in down here.
Okay. I'm talking about is on your speaker itself. Not all. Sometimes they have like a headphone jack.
Yeah, a lot of times they do.
And that way, if it's working through the speakers, it would definitely work through the jack on the speakers.
I don't know.
I don't either. We saw it work when I was there
Yeah,
a
it
couple
works.
hours ago.
There you go.
It's weird. Jeff was having weird problems with his computer. I came over there and helped him clean it out.
Well, every once in a while they do need that.
It didn't even seem that dirty. I was a little surprised, but he keeps it up on the table.
Well, if you don't surf the web much, I guess it stays pretty clean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see.
All them crumbs from those cookies, you know.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Cookie crumbs.
Yeah, that worked, Dave, that suggestion. I've got this little thing here
Oh, okay.
down here on the desk.
You forgot about that?
Yeah, I turn it on and off all the time, but never thought about plugging it in.
I'll be right back. I got to
Sure,
get my pads out of the freezer for my little air conditioners here.
Oh, okay.
I'll be right back.
He's got an air conditioner there.
Yeah.
I'm going to get more water. Oh, no.
Yeah, speak of the devil.
Yeah. I'm going to refill mine. I will be thirsty. It's not even 6:30 yet.
I got 6:25.
Yeah. So let's see. All right. I'm looking at your template.
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm getting out here. It's just got basically everything on there.
Yeah. That's fine. We'll see who shows up. All right.
Yeah, we're not doing too bad. Both of us are able to
It's my
telework
DMR
from
radio.
home,
Oh,
and so that hasn't been too bad either. That's not nice, and I think our dogs appreciate it. Although I don't know, I don't think they'll know what to do when we do finally have to go back to a normal sort of work schedule. Yeah,
No.
Back to you, Justin.
It actually shows the call signs and everything on there. You can't see it because it won't focus.
KI5J
Oh.
Oh, there it goes.
CW VK2FJMW.
South Wales, New South Wales, Australia.
Really?
Stuff. I mean, I'll
Wow.
get the day off today, but my work has been a bit
It's kind of
limited
neat.
lately, so I've been home more than not. So yeah, my little dog, she's a Japanese gin, and they're always very clingy. At the worst
So
of
that's
times,
through the computer, right?
and the best of
Yeah.
times,
Well,
they're very clingy dogs.
through the internet.
She's been thoroughly enjoying having me at home.
No, I don't have to use a computer.
And
Although I'm using the Pi Star as my relay, my hotspot.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like it a lot. There are a lot of things I don't like about it, but there are a lot of things I like about it.
Oh, that's better.
I don't know why I'm all fuzzy all of a sudden. I got the lens.
Yeah, you got fuzzy.
I got Vaseline on my lens. Still fuzzy.
Not as.
I think it's just a my dog's going off too. It's because I got the light turned up. And let me turn down the light a little bit. This light is weird. The neighbor's dog goes off all the time. You know, I forgot to bring the mail in.
Well, that's better.
Maybe while the dog's barking, maybe I'll go get the mail in.
You let the dogs in. Ruff, ruff, ruff. Remember
I
that?
had a herd of raccoons in my front yard the other night.
Really?
Nice. A herd, huh?
Well, I'm not sure exactly what constitutes a herd, but but there was 5 of them on the camera.
Okay, well,
Really?
that's a small herd, I'd say.
I would
Wow.
consider it a herd. I don't know what you can call a group of raccoons.
I'm sure there's a word for it, probably.
I imagine.
Probably cubby.
Something like that.
You know, a Congress is a
Yeah.
group of baboons.
Boy, that figures.
Yeah, actually it is too. That's what they call it, a Congress of baboons.
And we'd be better off if we had a Congress of baboons.
I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I think we do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I had all planned out how I was going to do this, and I realized it wasn't going to work what I wanted to do, so I'm just going to go freestyle.
There you go.
The because of the Zoom, it makes it more difficult. I was thinking I could produce everything through OBS, but I can't do that unless I'm making a video or doing a live stream. But when I'm working with Zoom, it's different. So I'm just gonna wing it. It'll be kind of a manual switch between video and screenshots.
There you go. What the heck?
Yeah.
Well, did the FCC ever decide what they're going to do, if they're going to charge for licenses or now, or is it still up in the air?
Yeah, I have not heard the final outcome on that. We should probably look that up. You know what I saw? Like last week, I saw the one of the reports on that. On the what do they call that thing? The weekly ham radio podcast thing. Ham Radio Nation, Ham Nation. Ham Nation, no. Ham Nation Weekly. Oh, what is that called? Oh, you know what? I'm gonna look it up here. How come I don't see my links? Here we are. Don Wilbanks. That's what I'm thinking of. Amateur Radio Newsline. Yeah.
From Amateur Radio Newsline Report, number 2,237. These are the Ham Nation headlines for Wednesday, September 16th.
I hear music in the background.
That's
While the
Jeff.
FCC has
Yeah,
not
that's
noticed
sound of music.
Hams because of changes.
Okay, it's
Congress
very
enacted
faint.
in
I'm trying to make it out.
2018. The law is known as the Ray Bombs
Yeah, Dave, you can mute me
Congress
when
Do
enacted
you want me to
when the
mute
thing
you?
starts. Yeah,
Oh, I will. Okay.
in
as long as I can hear the
2018.
meeting.
The law is known as the Ray Bombs Act, an acronym for Repack Airwaves, yielding better access for users of modern services. It directly impacts personal licenses such as amateur radio. Opinions thus far in the FCC's electronic comment filing system have included numerous arguments against the fee, saying it would deter young people and keep ham radio out of the reach of
Yeah, I don't
retirees
understand why
and
they'd wanna
low-income
raise the fees. It's
applicants.
so
A
stupid.
Michigan amateur wrote, however, that he considered the proposal
Yeah, especially nowadays with
suggesting a
everybody
fee
hurting
waiver
for money and out of work and no
individuals younger than
jobs
18.
and
The
can't pay
Valley
for their
Amateur
house,
Radio
can't pay for their
Association
car.
in Virginia
They're gonna raise
suggested
fees?
of no more than $15 for
It's
initial
just
licenses and
stupid.
modifications.
Well,
and a
again, they're
waiver
looking for every
operators
dime.
active in emergency communications and community
Yeah, we're
events.
still
The
borrowing
FCC
50
calls
cents
the
on every
fees
dollar, so
cost-based.
our
For
spending
Amateur Radio
habits haven't
Newsline,
changed
I'm Neil
yet.
Rapp, WB9
Yeah.
VPG.
This event's already passed.
Their
but it
revenue is
merits
down,
mentioning
and they haven't
how
slowed.
a
You know,
university
and
student is working towards a doctorate in amateur radio operators.
Okay.
I'm done. I'll get off the soapbox now.
It's all right. It's all right. I had to rewatch a little bit of that because I that's annoying. It's annoying. I forgot how annoyed I was. Too much stuff to worry about right these days.
Well, there's Mike.
Hey, Mike's here.
How you doing, Dave?
Good. How are you, Mike?
Okay.
How do you do, Mike?
We got Randy and Jeff here as well.
Okay, Randy.
Mike,
Hey, Jeff.
Everything is streaming. All right, here I can mute people. Or I can change. I guess I don't need that really. Okay, good. I don't have my virtual background set
No, you don't.
because I might need to show people things on my desk,
Ah,
even though it's already a mess again.
I should put up my virtual background.
You got a virtual background?
Well, I'd have to put it up.
You don't need one because you got a workbench. That's perfect.
Yeah, that's true. I got my "Don't Tread on Me" flag I can hang behind me.
I can't even find the right side.
I would have my Trump flag, but it's out hanging out front.
Oh, good. Jeff's got
You
two
want-
Trump flags.
You're tempting the neighbors to burn a cross in your front yard, Randy.
Yeah, we don't
Yeah,
want that.
burn an A in the lawn with gasoline.
Don't want that. Here we are. Choose video
There
background.
is there's an awful. They got to do a lot of yards around here because there's quite a few. Well, it's Captain Sam.
Sam here. Oops.
Yep, Captain Sunshine.
Captain Sunshine. Oh, there it is.
Oh,
Here
what's
it is.
Ken going to do without him tonight?
I don't know. Well, he's got barred up there in Bullhead, not Bullhead City, up there by Bullhead City, wherever that
Laughlin?
Laughlin, yeah.
Laughlin, Nevada.
Yeah, they can rag you. Howdy do, Mr. Sam.
Quite well, thank you. And how about yourself there, young feller?
I'm still kicking.
Good. You made it back all right?
Never went.
Good for you.
Never made it.
All right.
Went back to bed.
Oh, I see.
Not thinking about retirement, huh?
I'm thinking, yeah, it's getting kind of serious now.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Ought to be. Mr. President, Mr. Secretary, and Mr. Treasurer.
Hello, Sam.
Mr. Ex-President.
Lame Duck 3.
D3, that's me.
Hey,
And there.
There's-
How do you do, Ron?
Hello, Randy, Sam,
Ron, top evening to you.
Dave.
Hey, how you doing, Ron?
Hey, good.
Good.
Who is that? That's got to be Jeff.
It's me.
Jeff's
It's-
here.
That's Jeff's hand.
Yep, I'm moving my video camera. I think.
I think.
You think you're adjusting your camera? Oh, wow. Okay.
It's
there we go.
Earl.
It's Earl.
Earl, top evening to you, sir.
Hey, Earl.
Evening. How's
Morning,
everyone?
Good, good. You sound good.
Morning, Earl. After evening, Earl.
Decent
Oh, Earl.
audio.
Hello. Well, I've got 16 antennas up now.
Oh, wow.
16, huh?
Yep.
16.
You got to stop fertilizing those things.
I don't water them.
He would if it helped the propagation, I'll bet.
That's right.
Well, I water the ground rods.
There you go. That's what I mean. There you go. Okay, so waiting. Oh, you got another 20 minutes, so hopefully we'll have more people show up. I'd like to have a busy one this time. So I don't know who it was yesterday saying that there was a WinLink meeting tonight, but I believe that's tomorrow night.
Yeah, that was me. I was wrong.
Okay, just want to make sure.
One day early.
I found the email and I was like, oh.
Yeah, I did. I did too.
Oh, good. It's Friday. I was like, oh, thank goodness. I was thinking I was going to attend too because I thought, I'll just do it.
There was an earthquake one today, but I didn't make it.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. I didn't watch it, but I saw the email.
Right.
I didn't see that, but I've been busy today. So, who else?
Gosh, you're quiet.
We've got, pretty good. We got the vice president. We got secretary, me. DJ's not going to be here because he's been really busy. His business picked up, I guess, a whole bunch.
Oh, good for him.
So, I think it has to do with a lot of real estate sales in this area or whatever.
Well, that's a good deal.
Yeah, so.
That's kind of tough on his school teaching.
Yeah, well, he told me, he's like, I don't have time to do anything. He gets home and he has to write all these reports, after doing all the work.
Yeah.
So yeah. So he,
The things they didn't show you at the trade show.
yeah. Like most things, you want to make money, it's hard work.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Earl found out he had to use bottled water to get those antennas to grow.
Thanks for reminding me. I got to get more water.
I know you're in here somewhere.
Radio program.
There's Ed.
Oh, Ed.
Evening, guys.
Did you?
Hey.
Howdy do there, Ed.
Hey, what's up, Randy?
How you doing, Ed? I'm going to run off and get more water. I'll be right back. Ice and water.
Hey, Ed, did they get anything out of Wes's trailer?
No.
No? Good.
No, they pried some of the doors open, but he had them empty already, so. But I guess there was a few others that they tried too.
Oh, yeah.
And so I don't know if they got anything out of theirs or not.
I haven't heard
Wes
of
was okay, so luckily.
Oh, good.
That happened at a
thanks.
storage lot?
Yeah, the storage lot up there by the clubhouse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hey, I made it okay.
Somebody breaking into trailers, are they?
Yeah.
They tried. I've seen them break into some of the motorhomes when I had mine up there.
Yeah, nothing safe anymore.
Where's
that's
this?
Where are you
Up
talking?
in,
Where are you talking about, Ryan?
down there, mobile home.
Which park
Up
are
in
you
our
talking
park.
about?
Oh, the break-ins in the RV section.
Oh, okay. RV section of. Oh, okay. Where you live? No.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
unfortunately, it's getting more popular. I believe.
More popular.
Yeah, unfortunately.
In the wrong way.
Well, the more people that move in the area, the worse it's going to get.
Yeah, I guess there's that. I don't know. Seems like most of the people moving in are all rich, or at least can afford $500,000 homes.
You talking about Sun Lakes, Dave?
No, I'm talking about all the new homes in Beaumont and Banning.
Oh,
They're all huge.
Well, what the problem is that the people that buy them,
Yeah.
like in these new subdivisions and everything, they'll stay in there for a year or two, 3, and then they'll buy another one, move out of that one, and rent
Rented
it.
out, yeah.
And then that's when the problem
Then
starts.
you have 3 or 4 cars out front and several families living in one place.
It'd be like Four Seasons.
Is that what Four Seasons is like? Really?
Yeah, they can park on the street and in their driveway, and
Are they allowed to park on the street? I didn't know.
yeah.
Them riffraffs.
I thought that they
Yeah.
weren't allowed to park on the street. I thought no.
No,
Okay.
I know they can park in their driveway overnight and leave it out there. I'm not sure about the street. I think they can.
Okay.
You know, my sister lives in a Four Seasons in Arizona, and they're not allowed to leave their car on the street. They got to pull it in. But
Yeah.
it might be a different management, or who knows. But I'm pretty sure it's a Four Seasons she's in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she don't have much of a driveway anyhow. It's about 3 feet. Because her driveway's off an alley behind her house. So you basically everybody just, there's an alley there. There's a little area for parking for visitors, but that's about it.
Okay. Wow, it sounds like an opera happening, Jeff.
Yeah, that's the Sound of Music.
Is that Ginger's favorite movie?
They had 2 of them on public television. The first one was, oh God, I can't remember what it was. And if you remember the last meeting, you could hear that going through. And so she decided she wanted to hear this one during this meeting. So.
Oh, okay.
Are you allowed her to watch PBS?
Yeah.
Oh my.
She doesn't. They don't have that parental block set up on there yet.
No, they do have some good things on there. I'd contribute money if they didn't have Al Jazeera and all these other groups on there, because they've got some good stuff.
I used to watch it a lot. In fact, I used to listen to it almost exclusively on my way to work on the radio.
Oh, public, yeah.
PBS.
Yeah. Public radio.
They have those shows. They're very entertaining. Like they'll go into depth about a rock group or something, and it'll be like 3 hours long, and then they'll have the PBS breaks. It's like, where they beg for money.
That's where you want to. That's why you want to record it.
Yeah, exactly. But it's pretty good stuff generally. They're very thorough. They usually do a pretty good job. Whatever they're talking about.
But then they started slipping, so I had to stop watching.
Yeah, I haven't seen one of those in years.
I feel guilty a little bit when I record a mystery series like Morris or Endeavor. They're really good, but my guilt doesn't last too long.
Well, you are paying for it indirectly.
That's right.
Yeah, here in Sun Lakes you are. Yeah.
Here it is. I'm being Reminded of a meeting in 15 minutes.
Could have put something different in my car.
Where you got Edie hiding there? There we are. There, I'll wave to her.
Yeah. Hang on.
I tried to get her in frame, but she won't.
She won't go for it. Oh well.
Camera shy.
Can't win them all, Earl.
Well, occasionally you win some.
That's true.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, I got a DMR radio coming with a hotspot.
All right.
Oh,
Okay.
Well,
Well.
that's a good thing. Is that what you were flashing?
Yeah.
Okay.
I caught it.
Cool.
so who else has DMR radios besides Earl and Dave?
Tina.
Tina does?
Yep.
Oh, does she?
She
Okay.
bought the radio before she went on vacation, but after she got back, I built a hotspot for her.
Oh,
Yeah, it's interesting when you order the radio and the hotspot,
Yeah.
they say, oh, it's real easy to program. We'll do it for you. And then after you order it, they say, it is a little difficult to understand how to program it.
Did you get it from Bridgecom?
Yes.
Yeah. We'll see how it works out for you, because Tina was a little frustrated by their self-support.
is that a Chinese company or?
Well,
No,
it's supposed to be American.
No.
it's in.
Kansas City, Missouri.
Yeah, I was gonna
Oh.
say it's in the
That's good.
heartland of America.
Yeah. Huh.
That's where I got my 220 rig from, and it's actually made in Taiwan.
Oh, okay. Well, it seems like I really do love my Anytone. I have to say, I think it's a great radio.
Yeah, they seem to be working really well.
I'm very, very happy with this radio. I think it's one of the most solid feeling radios. And the one thing I don't like, most of the things I don't like about it, I think, are systemic to DMR. But it works. I really like the way it works in analog mode. But in digital mode, it's got some quirky issues that I think it's just related to DMR.
Well, I've tried C4FM, Wires X, D-Star, so I thought I'd try DMR
Okay.
and satellites.
You got all those working?
I
D-Star,
just I've got all the frequencies for all the satellites. There's 119 that
Wow.
we can use.
Wow.
There's 5 weather satellites that you can contact and actually bring up what they're seeing.
Jeez.
Oh.
Can you contact Star Trek?
No,
No.
but you get the space station.
Huh? Wow. Now, is DMR radio, is that what, ICOM or use?
Actually,
Yaesu?
DMR is non-brand specific at all.
Oh,
Unlike
Anytone.
almost every other digital mode is locked into the brand.
yeah. Huh.
P25
Yeah,
is
because there
also
is several. Because Kenwood's got them out with a DMR, and
Yeah, there are several now that's supporting DMR directly. It's more it's basically the commercial standard for digital radio, pretty much, I believe, the commercial standard.
So what is the favorite amongst all those, like the Yaesu, the DMR, the ICOM?
I really don't know that. I don't know that there's I don't know what I could tell you which one's most popular or anything like that. I understand that DMR is very popular right now, but I have not explored anything else.
Well, on C4FM, depending on how they have the repeater set up, because there's 4 modes.
Right.
Like Lee DeForest is on mode 1 because they want to do analog and digital.
Okay.
So the audio quality is
4.
iffy.
Yeah.
But I get Palomar, Merino Valley, and they're on mode 3 and 4, and you can actually send messages at the same time you're talking.
Oh, okay. So that's DMR, or is that
That's C4FM or
C4?
Wires X.
Oh, okay.
Just out of curiosity, Ed, do you run into problems with any of these radios? Are there illegals or something that drug people using these type of radios, DMR?
Not really DMR, but what's called P25,
Yeah, that's a different.
which is what law enforcement uses.
Okay, yeah, that's
And
another.
some of the cartels have better radio systems than we do.
Yeah.
Repeaters, you know, they've got unlimited funds pretty much, and
Yeah.
they've got a very good radio system.
I'll bet.
Well, they're on Snow Peak, and there's another one that they're on, and doing all their, shall we say, illegal stuff.
Yeah, I don't know about Snow Peak. I know we have some on Snow Peak, but
You hear
most
them
of the ones I've heard have been south of the border.
Yep.
But it's an entire network. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
thousands of repeaters.
Jeez.
Gee whiz.
Fine.
Huh.
Well, they do have unlimited funds.
Yes.
Boy.
There's Bill.
Hey, Bill.
There's Bill.
Evening, Bill.
Mr. Bill, how you doing?
Yeah, good, thanks. How's the audio right now?
A little hot.
Good enough.
Little good enough. I heard a little hot and a little. I was a little close. Little close. Is it better if I'm back a ways?
Yeah, you're really hot.
Well, I need to lower it even more.
It sounds. Yeah, it just sounds distorted to me.
Okay, how's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
That's a little bit better. Much. It's
Okay.
definitely improved. Usable, I'd say even.
Okay.
Okay. 6 minutes to go.
In county. Where's our Pledge of Allegiance speaker at?
I don't know. We can't start without George.
I got a flag here. It's fine.
Oh, there you go.
I guess we'll have to if he doesn't show up.
You can even put it at half mast for.
Oh, there you go. Half map.
Hear all kinds of great background noises now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one way they could really improve this Zoom program is if they showed where they have the little window that shows all the people that are on that I get. I wish they would show me which ones are making noise. Like it should have like a little UV meter, VU meter or something next to each person so you could know which one to mute because there's noise coming from them. That would be very helpful. Anyway.
Well, doesn't the yellow square make that?
No, you know, it does give you the yellow square if you're the only one talking or if only one person is putting out sound, but it doesn't always show you who's making noise. So it's not reliable that way.
Shows it here pretty good.
Yeah, it actually does work fairly well.
Yeah.
Sometimes. Short noises.
Mr. Bill.
Okay. Ron's coming on.
He lost his voice altogether.
Ron, we lost his video.
He's
and
muted.
We lost Ron. Oh, Flip.
There's
Okay.
Flipper
Flip's here. Flip's at the beach.
at the beach.
I'm at the beach.
And
How's the audio, Randy?
Sounds good to me.
pretty good, actually.
Okay, cool.
High-pitched noise. Is that from Flip?
I don't think so.
It's a new noise.
Hold on.
I definitely hear that on my end as well. I use I have outboard loudspeakers, so they have a little better fidelity than the loudspeakers in the laptop. I can hear that. It's gone now.
It seems to.
Yeah, that's my little fan over here.
I think it
Oh,
goes
okay.
away when somebody talks for some reason.
Okay.
Yeah.
You hear it now?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my
Sounds like
fan.
a. So I don't know what
It's
it sounds
sitting
like.
underneath the microphone.
High-pitched squeal.
Hold on, let me drop that one.
It's not a big deal.
Well, here I got a silent one here. I'll use.
Oh, you got one that's all quiet, huh? Oh, you got a fan. I see, personal fan.
It's one of those little. I got a couple little personal
Just
fans.
propping up his flag.
How you doing, Dwight?
All right.
Dwight's here. All right.
Hello, Dwight.
Hello, Dwight. And who else is going to show up? We're almost ready. Well, we got another 3 minutes, 3.5 minutes. See if George shows up. I thought I saw John, but I guess that was an email saying he went to the wrong meeting. Let me see. Oops, sorry. Yeah, that's an interesting sound.
Do you still hear it?
Yeah. Only when nobody's talking.
There's Teresa.
Teresa's here.
Hello, hello.
Hi, Teresa.
Hello. Hello.
How are you guys?
Great.
How are you?
You're real blurry, but you look good any otherwise.
She's frozen now.
Yes.
Yeah, your image is actually out of focus.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a broken cam on my refurbished Lenovo. So I plugged in this like 20-something-year-old little add-on camera.
Oh, okay.
There isn't even a drive on here to put the software disk in, but it works. But this is how it works. So.
Okay. Well, it
Works for me.
Close enough.
Better than a blank screen, I'd say.
Yeah,
that's true.
It's a step up.
Flip must be over in Hawaii.
Yeah, it's nice on the beach.
Wow.
You know, you're missing a surfboard in the background there. So.
I know.
Freezes up.
I think that noise comes from Flip. But
No, it's gone. I just shut the fan off.
Well, I still see the trees moving.
When I muted Flip, it went away. Sorry, Flip. That's okay. Actually, it's not that big a deal because we're going to be talking through the whole thing, so it only seems to come up when it's real quiet. Oh, it went away. Flip, talk.
All right. Are you getting feedback off of me?
Do you hear it?
That's weird.
It's so weird. It only happens after Flip talks.
That's weird. That's strange.
It is strange.
I do have a snide remark, but I'm going to keep my mouth shut.
Randy, I can always count on you for smut. I tell you.
Yeah, keep
That's
your
the kind
brain
of
out
guy
of
I am.
the gutter there, Randy. Okay. Oh, it looks like we're almost on time here. It's almost time.
And we got Pete coming in.
30 seconds to go.
I'm trying.
Pete's trying to come in. Treasurer Pete.
Not
He's no
having
longer
a-
treasurer. He's now our VEC.
I'm going to get out and try again.
I saw Mike Cartman come in. Oh, there he is. Mike's here.
There's Mike just in time.
Hello, Mike.
Evening.
Hi, Mike.
We may have a couple people still coming in, trickling in. It's basically 7. Yeah, it's basically 7 o'clock.
My clock says it is definitely 7 o'clock. Actually, 2 o'clock.
1900 hours. Local. All right. I think Ron, I don't know. I'm not going to wait for Ron. Let's go ahead and start.
I'm back.
There he is.
There he is.
I'm back.
Thanks, Ron.
Hey, here comes the old treasurer.
I should turn off the doorbell. Oh, here comes OUJ, Dave.
Nice.
I guess
Sounds
we'll
like
wait for him to
Avon.
get inside. They're knocking on the door.
Howdy, Pete. Hey, Pete.
Yeah, we got Pete. Okay, so we got Michael, treasurer, Mike.
Hi, Pete.
Where are we at here? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we've got 12,
14.
14, almost 15 with Dave. So that's like basically like last month. We had 16, I think.
Where's that DJ guy?
DJ is not going to make it. He's just really, really busy with work. That's what he told me. So I'm covering for DJ. Although I don't really have anything as far as I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how much I'm covering for DJ. I'm doing the demo tonight. So we have about 15 people here. Pete and Dave are kind of in and out. Maybe Dave's camera's not working. In any case, we're going to just go ahead and move forward. And I'm going to introduce myself. I'm Dave Klaus. I'm president of the San Gorgonio Pass Amateur Radio Club. And this is our monthly meeting on Zoom. And normally, of course, we'd be in the Beaumont City Hall. And hopefully we'll be back to the Beaumont City Hall soon enough. We'll see how that works out. For now, here we are on Zoom. Looks like we've got 16. I've got an even number here, too, without video. That's pretty...
I think Pete is twice. He has another block.
Pete's got two. Oh, yeah, look at that. Pete's got two things going on.
Do I?
Yeah, that's okay. I'll kick you out. How's that? I'll
kick me out totally. I'll come back in.
I'll kick you out. Just the one that's...
I can't see my video of myself.
I don't know.
Typical New Yorker. They're miscounting the ballots.
Hey.
Vote early.
I'm afraid to kick you out because it says once I remove you, you can't rejoin.
You know?
You know what? Don't worry about it. Just leave it alone.
Your video is frozen, Pete.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, Pete, you're frozen.
Dave, is that Dave? UIJ? OUJ? Can you hear me? Do you have audio, Dave? Dave's just a participant. He doesn't have audio apparently. Okay, so we have Pete.
Now we lost Pete's video, but his
he disappeared. Maybe he decided he was going to try to come back.
Okay.
I can't kick him out because it dry. I'm going to close my door. Hold on. All right. Yeah. So there's only two people here, but my brother decided he had to use the restroom, I guess. So I wanted to close the door, and we are going to get this thing going. Okay, so I'm Dave. I just introduced myself. Let's start. I'm going to go from the upper left to the lower right on my screen, and then hopefully people won't get duplicated. Randy, unmute yourself.
I unmuted myself, Dave.
Explain yourself, Randy.
There is no explanation for me, but this is Randy, K6RJA, and here in Beaumont.
Randy is our official giver of points. We haven't figured out what they're good for yet. I'm next, but I already gave mine, so we'll go to Jeff, who's the secretary of our club. Jeff?
Hey, I'm Jeff, Kilo Bravo 6 Charlie Alpha, and it is indeed a pleasure to be here tonight.
Thank you, Jeff.
Sure, you're
okay,
welcome.
Sam, you're next on the agenda. So talk to us, man.
D3 KI6 NME. Proud to be here.
All right, thanks, Sam. And then Earl, who's called ET5227SD on Zoom, by the way.
Yeah, I need to change that. Yeah, this is Earl Kilo Mike 6 Sierra Papa Yankee in wonderful Val Vista, East Hemet.
Okay, well,
and
nice.
Edie's here too.
Edie's right next to him. She's watching, but not involved otherwise.
He's working.
Okay, Ed, go ahead. You're next. Ed Muldar.
Okay, I'm Ed, W6EJM, and lame duck number 2 for
LD2.
Those that have been around a long time. Just basically means I was past president.
Yeah, thanks for explaining, because otherwise I would have to.
And I live in Banning.
Excellent. I don't know why I thought you lived in Beaumont, but that's cool. Bill Seymour with 1L, BIL.
Hi, Bill Seymour, WA6MOD. I live in Calamasa. I am the wrangler for the net control stations.
Yep. Bill keeps track of who's our net control for each each week, and post that up on our website, Whiskey 6 Papa Romeo Charlie Oscar Romeo Golf. I'll get through this. Okay, Flip, who are you?
Well, I thought I was chopped liver because you went right by me. So
No. I'm doing this in the order it's on my screen.
Oh, I got you. Okay. Hi, Flip. My name is Flip, K6WM, and I'm just a club member.
Okay.
Glad to be here.
Thank you, Flip.
Yeah.
Dwight, can you unmute yourself? There you go. You're
Hi,
next.
I'm Dwight. I'm KD6 MLS in Cherry Valley. Glad to be here tonight.
It's nice to see you, Dwight. Thanks for coming. And Therese, you're our vice president, right? Tell us about you.
Therese Brosnan, November 6th, Yankee Tango. I, as well, am very glad to be here tonight, and I am sitting in from Poppet Flats.
That's right. She's in the most remote area. Not necessarily the most remote. Maybe tied for the most remote area.
Remote
because
fits.
It's pretty remote, especially the part that Earl's in. How about Mike, our treasurer?
I'm Mike, KK6BUW. I'm club treasurer. I live in Four Seasons in Beaumont.
Okay, thank you, Mike. And then we have the other Mike, who's our lame duck. One. He even shows it on his tag here.
Hey, I'm Mike. Good to see everybody. WA6UYJ. And I live in Sun Lakes in the southern portion of Banning.
Excellent. Okay, Ron, SOI, you're next.
Okay, this is Ron, KG6 SOI from Banning. Glad to be here.
All right, thank you, Ron. Pete, our VE Wrangler. Go ahead.
Yeah, this is Pete, KJ6NRR from Beaumont, Four Seasons. Happy to be here.
Pete takes care of our volunteer exam sessions. And
he's a hell of a ventriloquist. He's a hell of a ventriloquist. Yeah, he didn't even lose his lips.
His video is dubious, but his audio sounded fine. How about Dave, WB6OUJ? Can you make noise? No. Oh, here we are.
Yeah, I can.
Look at there.
Hey.
I got video.
WB6OUJ.
Nice to see you, Dave.
All right.
Okay. You can mute out if you want.
I don't have a whole lot to say.
Okay, well, I just wanted to say hi. We want everybody to say hi.
Right on. All right.
Cool. I muted you. Okay. Okay, guys. We're moving forward with this. By the way, DJ couldn't make it tonight. He is just really busy working. And I don't know if I said it officially. So we have our introductions are done here. And we're going to have I'm going to ask that there be a motion made to accept the minutes that Jeff put out last week or a few weeks ago for last monthly meeting.
Okay.
I'm making a motion. Okay. We have a second. Okay. Motion carried, I guess. I don't know how these things work. I'm terrible.
Sounds good to me.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
We are Treasurer's Report. Mike, do we still have any money in the bank?
Yeah, we should have around $5,519.45. And I got another $30 sitting here from Randy, so I got to put that in another couple days.
For Randy buying that wonderful MFJ clock?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sucker stole my clock.
He told me yesterday it was one of his favorite things now. So, so there you go.
He doesn't put it up in his background on his tool chest there. He puts it in front of him so
well,
we can
he
see
wants
it.
to be able to read it. That's kind of a practical thing, I imagine.
Yeah.
Hey, Randy, what does it look like? Let's see it.
Can you show us your clock? It's actually really kind of nice.
He's muted, so he's
a 24-hour.
Oh, there it is. It's nice.
Yeah, it's a nice.
All right.
Randy, do you still know how to tell time?
I should have gone large on that, I suppose.
No, but he can count change, Flip.
If you can figure out an analog clock, that means you're over 40 years old.
Randy, you're muted again.
It's actually 2 seconds fast, but that's okay.
Oh, that's geez.
I was going to ask, is it accurate?
That's not bad.
Enjoy. Have a good day.
I set it up a UTC time, and so far it's holding at 2 seconds fast.
What? Oh,
Ended
yeah.
up having to work a full 8.
Good.
So
All right,
me and
guys.
him for 8 hours together.
Okay.
All right. Well, I don't know. Somebody was talking. I didn't know who it was. All right. Let's move on here. So treasurer's report's done. How about VE testing, Mike? I'm sorry, Pete. What you got for us on regarding VE testing?
Well, you already know about the last test.
Session was kind of a failure.
We have another test coming up at the end of October, and that will be the final one for this year.
All right.
And
so we have no need for any more impromptu tests.
No.
Okay.
There seem to be enough tests going on locally that we don't need to.
We need to do. Okay. Excellent.
What's the date on that, Pete?
October. It's on the website.
You know, the last Saturday. Yeah, it's on the website. 25th, I think.
And I'd like to know how your social distancing restrictions are working out.
It worked out good for the test candidates, maybe not so good for the proctors.
Yeah, I mean, we were maybe closer
They
together.
were a little tight. We only had one table.
But we actually did limit. I wasn't even there last session, and the session before that, I don't know what we had 4 people grading, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So unfortunately, the graders have to be kind of close together because we have to pass papers back and forth.
Yeah.
Hey, Pete, you say it's the last Saturday?
Well, the 25th or something.
Well, the last Saturday is the 30th.
Well, it's the 25th, Mike.
The 20. No, it'd have to be the 22nd, 24th.
24th, if you say so. I don't have a calendar.
24th.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Looks like it would be the 24th then, which is there are 5 Saturdays in the month.
CAM exams. Here it is. Gosh. No, I couldn't find it. Saturday, October 24th, 2020, 9 a.m. 24th.
Yeah.
All right. Do I need to put any other information down for that, or Pete? We're good for that. Okay.
Oh, we're good.
Everything's still there. Everything's the same. Nothing changed. And so let's see. Next is Aries. Is that Michael?
Steve.
No, Steve.
Mike,
I'm sorry.
yeah.
That's right. I get confused.
Aries is me.
Yeah, Aries is Mike. Steve is Racy's.
No, Aries, we've had a boot camp the last 3 Saturdays. The first Saturday was just general Aries information. The second Saturday was N-beams. This Saturday is going to be WinLink.
Okay. Excellent. And then Director at Large is missing in action. Tonight we're going to have a program on DMR that I'm going to basically an introduction to DMR and a question and answer session, and then a demonstration where we actually do some DMR operation. You can see what it looks like. And let's see, what is next?
Net control.
Bill.
Bill,
You're muted. So let me unmute you, Bill. Hold on.
No, I had trouble waking up my mouse.
Okay.
I was just putting the VE session on my calendar.
Okay.
Normally Pete doesn't need me because he has more than enough help, but I always put it on the calendar and check with him the week before. Okay. Nothing new to report. Everything's going well. I get really good reports from our was it LD2, LD3. Anyway, he always tells me how many checked in on what bands and whether things went well. He's been giving me good reports, and I know there's no drama in regards to people either not showing up or whatever. So everything's going well. As always, I'm more than willing to take on another net control, somebody else who wants to join the group. It'll just help out everybody else having to do it less often. Do I, among those of you who are net control stations, do you have any comments or questions for me?
My comment is that Jeff is doing a fantastic job of getting out the roll call prior to. It's a good reminder, and it's nice to have that updated list. Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah, that's nice.
Thank you, Jeff.
We do appreciate that, Jeff.
That is a lifesaver.
Because I probably would forget.
Hey, Mr. Sam has a question.
Go ahead, Sam.
Last night, we actually had one more on 220 than we did on HF.
Yeah, it was weird. 220 was killer last night. Or it was strange. Yeah, HF was not so good.
In terms of participants or in terms of the band condition?
Yeah, band conditions. Participants too. I don't know. I mean, I don't think we heard everybody. I don't think we heard Earl, for example.
Earl? Yeah, we heard him.
Did we hear him on HF? Okay.
It a little hard to get up over that real estate.
Yeah.
I was net control last night for HF.
Yeah.
And my noise level was an S9.
Yeah.
Wasn't pretty.
When my noise level was S5, but when you said that for example, when you said that Loose Nichols was very weak and you could barely hear him over at the noise level, he was at my noise level too. So for whatever reason, he was S5 or so for me. He was S9 or so for you, but still at the noise level. So I don't know. Sometimes it's really strong. Anyway,
questions, and that's the end of my report. Thank you.
Well, thanks for that, Bill. I appreciate your work on that, and I've been improving the website in the background as far as security goes, and I've also registered with Google, and I can now adjust our Google Sense so we can change what Google indexes and what they don't index. So maybe it'll make it a little bit more secure that way as well. I also made it impossible. It used to be possible to index the files that were in our directory, but I turned that off, so it's not doing that anymore. So I'm glad to see that everybody's still able to access it as far as adding stuff, like Jeff and Bill do all the time. And Jeff has to add, by the way, in case everybody doesn't know this, he puts updates our net control schedule. He updates and adds our monthly meeting minutes into the website every month, and all that stuff's up there for you guys to look at if you want to look at it. So let's move on from there. I guess we're at Racy's. So Steve, do you have something for us?
Yeah, I think. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Mike Mendoza and I have exchanged some emails. We were talking about a response to the shakeout coming in October.
Okay.
And we're probably not going to be permitted to show up at the hospital or any place like that. But we can do assignments based on and see what kind of how our radio coverage is here in the past.
Okay.
And what I'd like, we do an initial check-in. What I'm thinking of is we assign posts based on what sort of equipment individuals have. I mean, if somebody has a mobile rig in a vehicle, 50 watts with a good antenna, you can do simplex in the past here fairly well. We'd still have to rely on relays if need be. If someone is restricted to just having an HT and a rubber duck, for instance, or maybe even a mobile antenna, maybe have that person act as a human repeater, put them up on a high spot, maybe the south end of the bench type of thing, or just to monitor Mount Etna as a guard frequency.
Okay.
And just see what happens. I mean, if we have a real event, if it's a disaster, we're not going anywhere. We're probably going to be stuck at home anyway.
Right.
If we're smart. And we just pray we don't have any event of that sort.
Right.
Anyway, Mike and I will develop this further.
Excellent. Excellent.
Yeah.
Hey, Steve.
And Steve, just to clarify, it's 10:15 at 10:15. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Supposedly, something like that. Yeah, yeah. Okay, I'm going to mute.
Oh, George is joining us. Oh, we haven't done. It was right. We forgot to do the. We forgot to do the pledge. And it's George's fault.
Yes.
I'm going to blame it on George. Hey, George, we've been waiting for you to do the pledge.
Yeah, let's start it up again. Yeah.
No, you haven't.
I'm going to use that as my excuse for forgetting it.
Oh, okay. I'll let you get away with it tonight.
Okay, so we do it or shall we skip it? What do you think?
Let's go ahead and skip it,
Let's
Dave.
skip it
It's already 7:22.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
we're going to skip it.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a great tradition, but we'll bring it back next month. Okay, so we're past races now, and emergency comm. Gosh, is that you too, Steve? I'm so lost.
Basically, nothing other than what we're going to do with what Mike and I talked about.
Okay.
Just see who in the club is available. We still need to do a resource typing for the club, see who's got what, and who's able to do stuff, that sort of thing.
Steve, we sent our reports into you, didn't we already?
Oh yeah, you did. And but what I'd like to find out is, what sort of equipment individuals have. I mean, you have if you've got HF mobile, if you've got HF at home at all, 220, 440, what have you, mobile, HTs, things of that sort.
Was that not on the last request?
No, I was just inquiring as to what we view as emergency communications here in the past. What we have, and I did compile it, and I probably ought to send it out to everybody, and so you can see what everybody else sent, because all those who responded pretty much had the same thing to say, and it was in the affirmative that we don't want to let it go.
Right.
We do need to determine if the served agencies actually want us. Sometimes they don't. Right. In the case, as an example, Saturn, the Redlands Corps doesn't want anything to do with Saturn. So, things like that. And Saturn, of course, is the local Saturn group is pretty much gone by the way.
That's too bad.
Although their fellow Rick, CTT down in Riverside, has been moderating a forum on, what people view as emergency communications and how they'd like to see it go. So he's picked up the ball on that.
All right.
Anyway, I have nothing else.
So Steve, do you want us to send you a listing of what our equipment is?
Correct.
What our capability is?
Yeah.
Are you going to send out an email and just ask?
I'll send an email out, and Jeff will
just ask for whatever specifics on HF gear.
Yeah, sure.
Whatever it is that.
Yeah.
Whatever you need. Okay.
Yep. Okay.
And all right. So somebody's making noise now. It's cool. Yeah, all right. Let's see. We are at emergency comm, new business. Do we have new business? I don't have anything on here. Oh. I'll tell you this whole thing.
I have a.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I have a question. What the
Yes.
hell is Dave doing?
Dave who? Dave, he's rocking out or something. I don't know.
Oh, you Dave.
He's kind of like, I don't know. It's.
Hey, Randy. Hey, Randy. He just hooked you up. That's all.
I was just experimenting with this thing.
It was almost like a rock video or something. It was really weird.
Yeah, I was trying to see what would happen if I turned it sideways. I turned my phone upside down a couple times too to see what would happen, but the picture stayed level. Anyway, go ahead.
But those background pictures work a lot better if you have the lighting coming from the right angle.
Right, there we go. How's that?
Lights coming from the back, it doesn't work so well.
Right. Like so back there because the radios are over there.
Just a tip there.
Hey,
okay.
Dave, question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes,
Mike.
sir.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
whichever, Dave.
Something that I don't know whether the board wants to consider or the club wants to consider, but I was thinking about why don't we have a radio activity, such as, where we have our operators work either from home or from the field or wherever, and pick a weekend, a Saturday, for example, and let's see how many stations you can work in a certain span of time. Doesn't matter what the mode is. The only limitation that I would put on there is that both Flip and Jeff can't run any more than 100 watts.
That ain't gonna happen.
I think we should.
That would give them an undue advantage. But anyway, any mode for a couple hours and see who comes up with the most contacts in the various modes.
Are you going to come up with these rules, Michael? Are you going to come up with the rules?
I'm tossing out the idea.
Okay, I'm just
to the board and to club members to have some kind of an activity that would get people on the air and doing things.
I don't disagree. I like the whole concept. Let me just say that out front. Because I do think we need to get more people on the air more often, or as often as possible. And certainly I think we have extra time on the weekends. If we schedule something, maybe we could have like an impromptu contest where we don't necessarily have to make contact with each other, but we just make as many contacts as we can, maybe on as many bands and as many modes, and then otherwise just keep the same normal rules of we can't use repeaters or anything like that, and make up a contest. Yeah, it's a good idea. You know what? I'm going to put that down as something to consider. Let's call it Radio Activity Contest. We'll call it that. Anybody else with ideas, maybe club activities that we can have in the future? If you can come up with something right now, that's great. But if you just come up with something just comes into your mind, send an email to Jeff, and we'll add that to look at it as a possibility for additional activities for the club. So I'm just bringing it out there. If anybody has brainstorms like that, send them to us, and we'll look at it, and we'll try to determine if this is something that is practical and something that we can enjoy doing all together. That's the main idea. Hello, Earl. What's up?
This last weekend it was a banning frequency, not Mount Etna.
Mm-hmm.
People were, I thought, fox and hound or transmitter hunts. But basically what they were doing is they were going from Signal Hill, Central Valley, Las Vegas, Raleigh, and seeing what frequencies and coordination of their location was. So they were going all the way from 6 meters all the way up to 1.2 gigs.
Seeing how well the propagation is on each band, basically. How well
that
it works.
And the locations that they were in.
That they're in, yeah. Okay. Yeah, because most of the bands are line of sight. So once you go past that, it gets to be iffy. But it is interesting to study radio propagation that way. And I know a lot of people. I don't know about if tea hunting is something that's really still happening a lot right now. I kind of doubt it, but I've never really gotten interested in it. I think I went on one tea hunt, a serious tea hunt in my life, and that was back in the 90s.
Well, another thing that we could do is there is what's called SOTA, S-O-T-A, which is Summits in the Air.
Yep.
Yeah. And on the weekend, there's a website, SOTA Watch, and you can see how many stations you could work.
Yeah.
That's when most people are out on the trails trekking around.
Yeah, I saw a video one of these YouTubers produced where he set up a SOTA station. He went all the way up into a mountaintop and set up a SOTA station and had zero. It's so frustrating when you have no luck at all, but he had no contacts at all.
Well, doesn't POTA has another one, Parks on the Air?
Yeah, I've heard of that too. Yes, that's where you go to national parks, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yep. And that's a similar type of thing. I wonder what other contests they have besides summits and parks. probably more than we know.
There's something called Islands of the Air, IOTA.
Oh, that's right. I've heard of that. Yeah.
And QSO parties.
QSO parties.
Yeah, the QSO parties are going all the time, and this last one was the salmon run up and out of Seattle and up that way, and big contest. I didn't realize it was that big, but
yeah, that was fun.
I was reading something about a contest out of Nashua Amateur Radio Club in New Hampshire. I think it was what was the last one we just mentioned?
Alpota?
Yeah, whatever the state contest, whatever they call that, where they
QSO party.
Yeah, QSO party.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are a lot of fun, and the software that N3FJP has a software recording package for every one of the QSO parties, which is really cool. And you can just so easy to do and so easy to learn. You just have to sit there and work them. That's it.
Right. Now, I guess since we're talking business, and I don't know, I don't know where the break time normally comes, but I'm going to bring this up because there was a little bit of discussion before the meeting started, but was no serious discussion. But apparently the FCC is talking about drastically increasing the cost of licensing. Has anybody else seen this report? Raise your hands.
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I really would like to show the video, but I'm afraid I'll bring our video will be taken down. I'm not supposed to show other people's YouTube videos. But I think what I'll do is I'll have Jeff send out the video. It's not really the latest. What do they call that? Anyway, I don't have it up here right now.
Well, I would think it would. I would think it would all depend upon the cost of it and so forth. I mean, $10-20 for a year or 5 years, no big deal. But they were throwing numbers around like $50 or $75.
Yeah, it was like
That's going to stop a lot of people from getting into ham radio. I mean, it's supposed to be a hobby, not a business.
Right. Oh, darn it. Okay. Yeah, I can't bring it up. Anyway,
my thought on.
Go ahead. Who is that? Bill?
That was Dave.
Dave, OUJ.
OUJ, tell me, Dave, what's up?
The GMRS was $80 a year, and nobody's doing it, and they're just using the frequencies anyway. So I think they're grasping. I don't think it'll work. I don't understand why they would want to do that. It would probably be, I would imagine, for the 10 years that our license were good, but I still think it's a stupid idea because the GMRS radio, they don't even have to take a test to get it. Right. It's $80 every 2 years, and nobody's doing it.
Right.
So,
except for a few people.
Put a test on it.
Okay, yeah. No, I understand what you're saying, and actually, I do believe that the fee is just a one-time to get in. That's what I understood.
For what?
For a lifetime?
Yeah, it's like when you take the test, instead of $15. It's going to be like $90 or something like that.
Oh,
you get
that'll stop a lot of people from coming in.
I don't understand why they're contemplating this. This seems really crazy to me. We want more people in ham radio. We don't want less.
Well, I think it might be, and it's only speculation, might be tying in with the usage of the frequencies. And if they make it a little tougher for people to get in, that reduces the total number of usage on the frequency because they really want to reallocate those frequencies to other people.
That's possible.
That's
in other words, what you're saying is it's an evil.
It's a conspiracy theory.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
Evil FCC is now wanting our spectrum, which they've always wanted. Let's face it.
Well, they would love to sell it to another business.
Yes.
Well, I don't know. I'm gonna research it more. I forgot all about this. I saw the video last week and I was so disturbed by it that I just forgot about it. Maybe there's so many things going on, and then somebody brought it up today, and I'm like, is that really going to happen? I can't believe that's going to happen.
Well, I gotta believe the ARRL is watching it closely.
Oh,
and
yeah. Oh, absolutely. That's just going to kill ham radio.
Sure. One more nail in the coffin. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, as it is, it's hard to get people to pass the test.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Okay. Well, let's go ahead and take a break, I guess, huh? And I don't know. Then we'll have more time for our presentation, so we'll take a break here for.
You got old business, Dave, about
Oh,
the
I'm
auction.
sorry. Yeah, what?
Okay.
Yeah, let's finish off the auction. I'm sorry, Jeff. It was nothing there, or maybe I didn't go to the next page. Yes, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, the auction is basically over. There's only a few items left.
Okay.
And Warren, what's his call sign, Sam? N6FC?
N6FC.
Yeah. He has requested the remaining ones.
I think Warren was here earlier, but he disappeared on us.
Yeah.
Oh, no, he
So
wasn't.
basically, that's it. That's the end of the
I'm
auction.
confused. Okay, so it's over. And
yeah.
And
Hey, guys.
excellent.
Hey, one thing.
Go ahead, Steve. I'm sorry.
Oh, let Mike go ahead.
Okay, go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, we're going to take a break here?
Yeah, in about 5 minutes or when we're done talking.
Anybody have a copy of their QSL cards at hand?
Yeah.
QSL cards.
Raise your hand if you've got QSL cards at hand.
No, I don't.
No. Not up to date.
Okay, I just thought we'd do a quick show and tell of your
QSL card. Are you trying to find a way to spend another 20 minutes? Well, that's okay. That's very nice of you to do that. You guys that have them handy, let me say that you're very well organized. And I thought about making up one and I never did it.
I thought about it too, never did it, but I'm impressed. They know exactly where
Yours
they're
is
at.
upside down, Dave, but that was good. Okay, we're impressed.
Hey.
Everybody's impressed.
Okay, I had
Sam. All right. That was good. I appreciate that. Okay, well, that was almost half the group, I think, or close to. Okay, everybody now feels left out of this. Make
you
yourself.
Got a card for Gary. I'm sorry, Dave.
Everybody could just make their own. I mean, use like a word processor or something. Anything you can make your own. Anyway, here I am preaching. Oh, Steve, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Hey.
What you got going, Steve?
Okay. This is the envelope that the post office offered us this past Tuesday here in Banning. The zip code meets the date.
Oh yeah.
I read about that.
I read about that. Yeah.
Notice the desert canyon that they have behind the stamp for Banning. I guess the East Coast bureaucrats think that the San Gorgonio Pass is a very colorful desert canyon.
Yeah.
And by the way, I have QSL cards that some that I made years ago, and just a photograph of the pass. So on. But, need to do another one. Anyway, I thought the postal guys, Jeff and post office John, would appreciate that.
Yeah, I forgot. I saw. Actually, I got an email from the post office. They're talking about that celebration. Of course, they're having a virtual party because they can't have a physical party for the city of Banning, who on 9/22/20.
Yeah, I tried to
already
get in
happened,
that.
I guess, right?
Yeah. Well, I never got the link. I asked for the link and it never arrived.
Oh, I got an email, so I should have sent it to you. I'm sorry, Steve. I don't know why
That's
I'm
the way
on
it
their
goes.
list. I think it's because I subscribe to their, the system where they show you your mail before you get it, which is really cool, by the way. What do they call that?
When I was a window clerk, they had very few people that would come in and request IRCs. That's the International Reply Coupons.
Oh yeah.
That, the hams could use to, or anybody, if they
Right.
sent a letter overseas, and the people over there could take those IRCs to their post office and exchange them for the stamps to reply back. But I don't think they use those anymore, IRCs. I think they're extinct.
Yeah, there's a lot of even DX International doesn't like them. Yeah.
Flip, your dog got in behind you.
Yeah, look at what that look on his face is just priceless.
He's got a bigger head than you do.
I know.
I wouldn't go quite that far.
Yeah. But yeah, a lot of the IRCs, they're not honoring them anymore. And so the international, especially, they say, don't bother with IRCs, you know.
Okay. So Jeff, are we finished with old business?
Yeah, that's it. Break.
That's it? Okay, so it's break time. So, come back right around 6 o'clock, or 8 o'clock. My watch works. About 15 minutes. And actually, stay on. We'll stay on. I don't have anywhere to go. And we can just BS for 15 minutes. See how crazy you can get.
What?
Oh, George, coming back.
Okay.
Or, I don't know who it is. Yeah, George, we got 16 again. Excellent.
I'll be back, Dave.
No problem. I'm going to run out of water myself. I'm sick. You dry out real fast when you start talking a lot. At least I do.
So I'm muted. So. Oh, hey there. Happy birthday.
I better start muting people.
Oh, am I muted? Hold on. Let me put this to a stop for a minute.
I don't know who to mute, so I'm trying to figure out who it is. Okay. Well, it's quiet now. I must have got the right one. Excellent. It sounded like personal conversation. You know, you got to be careful about that.
N3, Barry. Good talking to you. N3 CI is clear.
Huh.
N2 XRV, VA1 IBY. Chatting me around this evening, Ivan.
Nova Scotia.
Is that through DMR, Dave?
Yeah. I got it in a worldwide talk group.
Oh.
It's kind of neat. I'm not. There are a lot of things about it I don't like.
Nothing heard. VA1 IBY, Nova Scotia, Canada. We'll be listening. Talk group 91, worldwide.
That guy's in Nova Scotia.
Is the QSO itself, is it limited to a certain amount of time, Dave?
Actually, not really.
Not
Although
okay. That's
it's
type
typically
1?
established, certain talk groups you don't tie them up because they're too busy.
Yeah.
So it's like you make contact, and then if you want to talk to somebody for an extended period of time, maybe go off to somewhere else.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of things I find frustrating about DMR, but all in all, I like it. I think it's great for people that just want to to talk.
Well, I think one of the biggest one of the biggest bennies is the digital aspect of it, as far as weak signals versus strong signals and so forth.
Yeah.
Analog, further you get away, it starts degrading and so forth. With digital, that doesn't happen. So It's a nice technology for communications.
Yeah.
But whether the system supports the typical ham radio stuff remains to be seen, I guess.
It's really what they did is they took like a very, very basic DMR tier 2 setup for ham radio,
Mm-hmm.
where it doesn't, obviously it's lacking only in really any kind of encryption.
Yeah.
I mean they actually, DMR has got encryption no matter what. Okay, so it's always encrypted, but the encryption keys are like universal for ham radio.
Oh.
So it's like and if you're required to use those, because you're never supposed to have encrypted communications with ham radio.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So it really is encrypted, but it's just encrypted in the standard way. It's kind of interesting.
Dave?
Yes, Earl.
One of the things I asked Bridgecom is if they had 2 meters single sideband. They said no, they do not support it.
Right. They don't support it. Well, I don't think you're going to find a new radio. Well, that's not true. There probably are new radios that have 2 meter sideband mode. It's just going to be hard to find radio with 2 meter sideband mode. I've got one.
My Yaesu FT991A has single sideband on it.
On 2
and
meters?
the ICOM 7100 has single sideband on it.
And that works
But
on
then
2
you're
meter?
looking at a multi-band radio.
Right. Does that work on the 2 meter band though? Single
Yes.
sideband mode? It does. Okay.
Both of them do.
Yeah. See, I've never tried that on our ICOM. We have a 7000 in our EOC. I never tried that. I actually used to work. I used to do a lot of 2 meter sideband operation when I first got into ham radio. I bought a radio at a swap meet, an old Kenwood 701. It's got like 8 watts sideband output, and then I also bought a little amplifier, like a 50 watt amplifier for it, and it worked really well that way. The radio, I still have the radio, but it needs work, needs some fixing. But
for the 1 1/4 meter band, I have an Alinco, and it's limited to 25 watts.
Okay.
And then on 6 meters, the Alinco will go up to 50 watts.
Ah. Wow. The 6 meter band is so underutilized.
Depends on where you're trying to look.
I mean, most people just don't use it. It's just not a great HF band, and
Well, it's so erratic. It's erratic. You don't know when it's going to be in or out. You're constantly listening for it.
Yeah. It just seems like the most underutilized.
Yeah.
When I first got into model air and avionics, I got I had a ham radio license, so I got on the 6 meter allocation for their for the transmitters and receivers, because everybody else is using this one. There's only like 20 channels or something. I don't even think there were that many. And if you had a ham radio license, you got your own. It's like free to, pretty much get out there anytime you want.
Both of you can fly at the same time, even though all the other channels were tied up.
Exactly. You had less worry.
I was on 6 meters. I can do real well south and southeast. And I was talking to this one guy who was at the Borrego airport on his airplane. He's getting ready to take off. And he says, well, where are you at? I says, I'm out in East Hampton. He says, no, you're not. I said, yeah, I am. I'm on 50 watts. And he says, no, you couldn't get that far.
Yeah, he didn't believe you. I'll tell you, over the desert, you can go pretty far. I have no trouble talking to the guy, that EOC that we used to have in India. For some reason, the EOC here couldn't contact him very well. Because it's funny, because if you go east, you're better off south of the freeway. But if you're going west, if you're trying to talk west, like toward Calamasa or Yucaipa, you're better off north of the freeway. And it's because of the way the mountains are arranged or something.
Yeah.
When I was a ham before, I used to go up to Mount Wilson. There's an access road just below the transmitters. And you could transmit from there, and you can leech yourself on the outgoing transmissions of the towers up there. The same one they tried to fight the Mount Wilson fire from, this last one. And the other good one is Mountain Low, which is to the west. And they have a real good site there for transmission.
I don't know. I brought my HT up to, where did we go? Sunset Ridge, Mount Baldy, near where most of the repeaters are in Mount Baldy. And we went there to service a repeater. I was with some guys that were servicing a repeater. And I got up there, and I was expecting to be able to hear everything with my HT. But I couldn't hear anything with my HT because there was so much noise generated by all the transmissions happening from that.
intermod everywhere.
Yeah, it was just like, I could not hear a dang thing. It was horrible.
Squelch won't even take it out,
No, HTs have no rejection at all. They're worthless. When you're anywhere near noise, they're completely worthless.
I remote base was on Sunset Ridge for many years, and when I would go up there to service it, I found that there was a certain place where I could go and stand behind a building, and I was shielded enough with the RF that I was able to
actually
make my HT work.
Yeah.
You have to find the spot.
That makes sense. You find the null spot. That's probably true. Okay. I'm going to have to get my own water here in a second. I think I'm almost out.
My most sensitive HT is the Yaesu FT70DR. And out of all my HTs, that's my favorite. It reaches out a long ways.
Well, it's amazing how different they can be as far as sensitivity and on the receive.
The thing I noticed is anytime a HT has GPS in it, they take away from the regular receiver.
That's probably true, although you could turn it on and off.
I use an HT on the motorcycle right now because it's the only thing that I can get to Bluetooth into my helmet.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I have a F6A Kenwood, which is my favorite because it can pick up 6 meters, which is CHP. But the Bofang works the best, believe it or not. I went down to HRO with my bike and my radio, and I said, I need something that works better than this, because I don't want to use the Bofang. I want, a Bluetooth handheld radio. They really didn't have anything there that was sufficient. But so if I'm using it without the Bluetooth, and not on the motorcycle, maybe the motorcycle harmonics, but I use all the ferrite beads all over the place because I use an external antenna on the trunk of the motorcycle.
Okay.
And which is, I think, what the Kenwood does. The Kenwood picks up harmonics from the motorcycle or my camera system, because I have a DVR system on the camera that are on the motorcycle.
You're taking video, because I watched some of your video. I think I watched your video where you went up to Julian, or went down to Julian, wherever.
Yeah, well, that's my GoPro video, but
okay.
I also have little cameras on the motorcycle that are DVR'd into the motorcycle, so if I get hit again, I don't know if you know my history, but I got hit on the motorcycle and it was a hit and run.
Oh, okay, so that's good.
Yeah, next time, there's a DVR running on my motorcycle all the time now. But yeah, those videos, my YouTube videos, those are a different thing, but
right.
I'm getting better at those, at editing those.
That was pretty cool. I got a kick out of it. I thought it was pretty fun.
Yeah, I'm going to try to do more. I'm getting more money involved in it now. But so the motorcycle, the Bofang doesn't pick up harmonics off the motorcycle. It doesn't have any noise. I can talk to people on it's the tram mainly. On 440, I don't have any problem. But on the tram, they'll say they can't understand me, and that's when I'm running the Kenwood. They say that there's some interference. I just hook back up because the mic setup for the Bofang and the Kenwood are the same, which is why I chose that to use for my motorcycle. And so I could switch radios if I wanted to. So I switch radios right out, and I talk to them, and they're going, "Oh, what are you on your base?" No, still on the motorcycle. I'm on a Bofang for $21.50 on eBay. And so I don't know. That's my take on the thing.
Well, and I have to tell you, because this actually came to mind when somebody else was talking about how well their radios hear. I compared, when I first bought my first Bofang, I compared the receive on it because it seemed incredibly good. And sure enough, I could hear repeaters on that Bofang that were very scratchy on my Yaesu or my Kenwood or my traditional. I guess the difference is it's a dual heterodyne whatever receiver, and compared to the Bofang, I guess has a digital receiver like an SDR radio. and it just works a lot better. I was just blown away. I couldn't even believe it. Sounds a lot. It just works a lot better on receive. So
yeah, I'm surprised about the radios. They're good little radios.
Yeah.
But I prefer not to use one, because they're supposed to be illegal and all that type of crap.
Yeah.
And of course I've got a $350 Kenwood that I would rather have on there.
Right.
But the Kenwood just does not fit the bill when I'm driving down the freeway.
That's weird. Yeah. Well,
and the Bofang doesn't get CHP, by the way. It gets everything else.
Yeah.
But it does not get CHP.
No, it doesn't go anywhere below 139 or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, but the Kenwood will, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
So I can listen to this.
The Kenwood has. You're talking about the 5A or whatever it is. The
F6A, yeah.
F6A, right? Those Kenwoods have incredible all band receive. Yeah, you can hear everything, and they even have single. I think even has single sideman mode on the receive.
I'll also make one more comment about that.
Sure.
The Bofang's battery is phenomenal compared to all the other radios that I've ever had, Yaesu or Kenwood. The Bofang batteries are just.
They seem pretty good, don't they? I don't know. I haven't had any problems with mine either. I've only got one that I use all the time, but actually I've kind of switched my Anytone. I'm using the Anytone all the time, and that's a great radio. By the way, Dave, Anytone has
which is really nice.
Has a Bluetooth too. Anytone has Bluetooth.
So does it have an external PTT switch?
Yep, it comes with on this radio. In fact, the one I bought came with a external PTT.
You might have to send me a link to that one.
Yeah, just go to. I always get it wrong. Broadband. It's not broadband.
Well, I have the Anytone DMR radio also.
You have the 878?
Oh, I don't know what it is, but let me pull it out. It happens to be right here.
Are you talking about Bridgecom?
Bridgecom. That's what I'm thinking of.
Oh, I got Radio Ditty, not Anytone.
Okay. If you go to Bridgecom and you look at the UV878, that's a dual band. It has analog and DMR.
Mm.
And it's the analog works really well. I'm very happy with it. I mean, so far I haven't used it for a whole lot, but it's,
to use DMR is pretty much the Papa system still the only thing that's viable.
For me, the only system I could reach was on Santiago Peak. There's one in Redlands I could barely hear, but it was mostly an antenna issue, I think, with mine. But you know what you can do, Dave? Believe it or not, you can use your phone as a hotspot, or you could just buy a Wi-Fi hotspot, and then you can connect a Pi-Star DMR repeater to it, and then, it's just a little tiny box, and then you get on the air using the internet on DMR.
Okay.
And that's part of what I'm going to talk about tonight. Yeah. So there are a lot of people driving around in their cars talking through their DMR hotspot that's connected to their Wi-Fi hotspot that's connected to the internet through their phone carrier.
Okay. Well, then I'm going to pop this off you real fast.
Okay.
My YouTube video.
Yeah.
I'm actually using a GoPro.
Okay.
Going into my telephone, hotspotting off my telephone, and live feed Facebook.
Oh, excellent. Okay.
So I had a heck of a time finding a video that would attach to the telephone and take the spot of the camera while you Facebook Live.
Right.
So anyway, that's how I'm doing that.
Well, DMR does not use a lot of bandwidth, so that's why you can get away with hooking it up through your phone or whatever.
Okay. I'm unlimited, but yeah, that's cool. Oh.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Okay, so I guess it's about time to start up again. Is everybody back, more or less? I forgot to get water, but that's okay. I'll survive. So where are we here? And we're taking a break. So we were talking about DMR. I'm going to move my camera around and adjust my lighting. So, in fact, let me just... I guess it doesn't really matter. Let me get this Adjust it up a little bit. Change the color.
Right there.
That's good enough. Can you see this stuff? Is this working now? Okay, now I got to turn this off. Hold on a second. I know how this thing works. Really, I do. Where's the settings button? Ah. There we go. Turn off the virtual background. Off. Now maybe you'll see my desk. Oh, that's gross. Okay, there it is. Whoops. Gallery view. How about full screen? Can I do that? I guess not. All right. I'm the speaker, so maybe speaker view will work. Hey, come on, work. Speaker view. There we are. Oh, I got flip. How come it always goes to flip when I put it in speaker view? It must be your whistle, Flip.
It's
I'm going to blame it on your whistle.
Yeah, it's programmed properly.
I think it's your whistle.
Maybe.
Because I hear it again. What?
Really? I don't have anything coming in. Zero.
No, it sounds like feedback.
It might be.
Pin video, spotlight video. There we go. I knew I could figure out how to do this. Okay, so this is my DMR radio, by the way, my Anytone. As you can see, it's dutifully receiving DMR right now. I just don't have the volume up.
No packet loss either, from what I can see here.
Okay, so I'm going to explain exactly what's going on. No, not exactly, but I'm going to come close here. So there's single board computers, as you guys probably have heard me talk about. Like this thing is a Raspberry Pi 3. That's what it looks like. Let me get a little more brightness. And this is actually the board that I'd recommend you use. And I'll explain why in a second. And here's another example. Here's an example of a Raspberry Pi that won't work. This is maybe one of the oldest Raspberry Pi I own. And the reason this won't work is the general I/O connector is the wrong size. On the standard modern Raspberry Pi, you have 40 pins. On the old ones are 26 pins, and these 26-pin versions will not work. So this one's out. But if you want to go small, you can use this is called a Raspberry Pi Zero. It's very small, and this one is a 0W, which is required. If you look at the back, it has the model information. Raspberry Zero W has wireless networking. Okay, if you have a standard Raspberry Pi without the W, Zero without the W, it won't work because you got to have networking. You got to be able to connect the internet. Okay, then, so what else is involved? I've got the radio and you've got the hotspot. Okay, I'm just showing you the hardware, and right now I've got two hotspots working actually, but one of the ones I've got working is right here. It's kind of like the visible hotspot because it's not in a case. I don't know if I can get this to focus or not, but as you can see, I have power going to it, and I have the network going to it. So this one's wired. Okay, and it's got the Pi underneath. This is a Pi 3. Actually, this is a Pi 4. And then it's got the hat on top, and it connects through the general I/O connector, as you can see. And this is all that there is to the Pi hardware. So you've got the Pi, you've got the hat, and you've got the little card that actually contains the software, which is nice niche to come in there. Which this is the card that everybody recommends you use because I just wanted to point this out. I actually had have the package handy. If you use a standard memory card that's designed for, say, a camera, they're not really good at lots and lots of reads and writes like you do with a computer. And so they have, instead of using the standard card, if you use one of these colorful ultra cards, it has the status of being, let me see if I can get this to focus. Come on, focus, baby. Actually, it's got, you can see it right here, the A1. Okay, if it's marked with an A1, that means it's for heavy duty operation. So it's designed to work with a phone or a computer, basically. So I thought I'd point that out. So those are the components you really need. You need the Pi, the hat. The hat has the little antennas on it. You need a power supply. You need the little micro SD card. And of course the case would be nice. Now, do you have to use hardwired? No, because it'll work through the Wi-Fi as well. And in fact, most of the hotspots you find don't have a plug. I think I kind of like the idea of having a plug. This is what the hat looks like. It's not connected to the Pi. This one has a display. This is basically a transceiver. And it's called an MMDVM, which stands for Multi-Mode Digital Voice something. Oh, I gotta look for my notes. Multi-mode digital multi-mode digital voice modem. That's very simple. Multi-mode digital voice modem. So another one, you might notice some of these have 2 antennas and some of them only have 1 antenna. Okay, and that's the difference between a duplex and a simplex. This is actually the reason I'm mentioning this. There's a good reason I mention this, because this severely limits the operation if you only have 1 antenna. If you have one with 2 antenna connections, you can transmit at the same time you're receiving on the board. So it can actually do full duplex, like a real repeater, full duplex operation. Get this thing to not focus on the outside world. This would focus. Anyway, so that's, it's for me anyway, the difference is minimal. I mean, this is a $20 hat. This is a $30 hat or whatever, it's not a big difference in price. So it's something I discovered and I thought is interesting. So all those like you buy from the major vendors, almost all of them have 1 antenna. And the big disadvantage of that is you're working on the same frequency for transmit and receive. And that means that you can't transmit back to that device until it stops transmitting. It's not going to hear you until it stops transmitting. So you have to wait for that thing to stop completely before you can start transmitting. And I know it's tough for a lot of people. And it's just a little bit more convenient when you can jump in a little bit earlier. And also allows you to do things like listen to, gets a little more complicated, but listening to 2 programs at once. Because since it has the capability of sending signals across 2 different slices of audio, 2 different data slices, it can send 2 different streams over 1 signal. And we'll talk about that a little bit more here. Okay, so I'm done with the physical. I'm going to move back to normal mode here. Hold on. And I'm going to do some screen sharing, and I'm going to answer questions. Yeah, go ahead. Question.
Yeah.
Who is that,
Since
Mike?
I'd like to get a basic here where I'm sorry, I'm just not familiar with what's going on here.
Sure.
First of all, tell me what DMR stands for, and then also what do you do with it? What's its purpose? You've gotten into the guts of it more than I'm ready for just yet.
Yeah, I understand. No, I'm just it's a very good question. I don't even know that I know what it stands for, but let me find out.
Digital mobile radio.
Digital mobile radio, yeah.
Right.
And actually, I don't know if that was the first or if P25 was the first. Not that it really matters. But I understand P25, I guess, is used with law enforcement. I didn't know that. DMR is very commonly used in the commercial industry.
Right.
And there's something called DMR Tier 1, which is the original implementation, which actually Came out in, let me move my camera around. Came out in 2005, I believe it was. And Tier 1 is unlicensed DMR radio, which is interesting because it's interesting that they came up with an unlicensed mode. But basically what it was, it's almost like FRS. It's DMR, half a watt maximum power, and handheld radios, basically. So there's no other option. And that was kind of short-lived. I don't think it really went very far. And then when they came out with Tier 2, that's where the commercial application became really more important. And with Tier 2, they include the capability of having two sound streams in one signal. And they call that slices. They call them slots, actually. Now, who's making all the noise? Is it Jeff? I'm going to mute Jeff, sorry. Okay. So I can't concentrate when I'm having music in the background. So the slices, the two slices of data basically come across one stream. The way that works is when you have 12.5 kilohertz spectrum, they can fit exactly, I don't know how this works out, why it works out this way, but they can fit approximately 12.5 kilohertz of data streamed data to your, through that signal, through that 12.5K bandwidth. And so there's 12.5K of data streaming through. That's exactly twice as much as necessary to stream audio. And what they decided when they came out with the DMR Tier 2 was that they would have two slots of data streams. One slot would carry one voice and another slot would carry a different voice. And that way you could actually have two voices coming through on one channel. And I will demonstrate that by going back to, in fact, I'm going to do is I'm going to share a screen. And let's see. Everybody should be able to see my screen with all you guys on it. Whoops. Well, things moved around a little bit. It's okay. All right. Now this, by the way, this is a great illustration of what I'm talking about. But what I'm actually monitoring here is my Pi-Star repeater, okay? It has its own little built-in website. This one is not being active, so I'm going to switch it to the other one. There's the other one. This is the one that's actually on my desk in front of me right now. And actually, neither one of these are active. Hold on. Actually, let me just show you. Just notice on here that when we did have activity, we had two different talk groups coming through. Now, talk groups are equivalent to frequencies, okay? Each talk group is where it's a virtual port on the internet where people digitally connect with their voices. And so it's just like it's like a frequency or maybe a channel. It might be better described as a channel for voice communications. So when I talk on a DMR repeater, whether it's a home repeater or whether it's a real repeater, what I'm doing is when I send that signal to the repeater, I'm telling it what talk group to set the repeater to when I transmit. So this is a whole different dimension of the way things work. In other words, the repeater doesn't know what frequencies it's on, essentially, or where we're talking until I key up, because my radio is in control of the repeater. When I tell the repeater, look, I'm going to talk on 91, the repeater goes, oh, okay, we're talking on 91, and it starts talking on 91, and then it starts, this is the magic of DMR, it'll receive on 91 as well for some period of time.
Hey, Dave, but only one at a time?
Only one at a time.
There's not multiple people accessing that repeater simultaneously, right?
No, there is not.
Okay.
This is it's not the way I thought it worked either, to be honest. I was a little bit shocked by that. But once you activate that repeater onto a specific talk group, then you're on that talk group, and that repeater is listening on that talk group. If you just don't do anything, if you just tune up the repeater, you're not going to hear anything, because the repeater is going to be dead, because there's nothing telling it what to listen to.
Hold on. Let me ask a question.
Sure.
If you're talking on that repeater on that particular talk group, okay, and somebody else comes along in between and changes the repeater to another talk group, how do you get back to your talk group? Do you have to speak again, or will it go back?
Yeah, you got to transmit again. It will
Okay, that's
switch
what I
back.
kind of thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons you can really see the advantage of having your own repeater.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, essentially, and that's really it. I mean, there are other advantages too, like having this nifty little desktop you can sit in front of, and as you hear people come on, you can look them up just by clicking on their call sign, which is really clever. So I'll show you how that works in a second, but it's really simple how that works.
Dave, question.
Yes.
The way that maybe commercial is using it is if you have one repeater and somebody keys up the repeater on that talk group and is talking to somebody else, so forth, and then it takes a pause and somebody else comes in and changes the repeater to another channel, let's say.
Yeah.
If you had a question to your other party while you were on that first channel, does your other party, when he responds, does it come back? Does it know to come back to you then?
No, and this is part of the problem. I know it's what's even crazier about it is that if you're just monitoring that repeater, you're not going to hear anything. If somebody's talking on a talk group, you're not going to hear anything unless you're on that talk group.
Right.
So this is what makes it kind of confounding to me. I'm not even sure how that arbitration works at all.
Well, I can see how the commercial people would use it, like one police department, another police department, and so forth.
Right.
That kind of works. But for ham radio, I'm not sure. I don't know.
There are other things built into DMR for selectivity.
Yeah.
They talk about one of the things that is an option with a various, say a repeater. They could be on the same frequency pair as another repeater, but use a different color mode. It's called color mode, and that basically is like a PL tone. It distinguishes between repeaters on the same frequency pair.
Got it. Got it.
And that much I do know. I did, like I said, all the experimentation I did with repeaters was pretty much unsuccessful. I had really crappy connection to Santiago Peak. I couldn't really make communications. So that frustrated the heck out of me. But I sure didn't want to go to.
Bill's got a question.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, Bill. Go ahead. I'm going to expand this so I can see everybody. I can't see everybody. Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Bill. Do I have you muted, Bill? I'm sorry. Let's unmute Bill. Bill.
Oh, I wasn't asking for a question.
Okay.
I was actually cleaning the lens on my camera.
Oh, okay. That's cool. Is there anybody with a question?
I apologize.
Arms. There we go. Steve, you have a question? Or are you adjusting your camera too? I think he's adjusting his camera. I can't hear you, Steve. Oh, there we go.
No question.
Okay.
Hey, Dave, it seems like digital data would be a very big asset on DMR instead of voice, basically.
Yeah, I mean, it's the digital part of it. It's all happening in the background.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that I mentioned the slot 1, slot 2 thing. It's really crazy is how that benefits you in ways that aren't really readily apparent. Okay. And let me show you. If I go to there's actually, when I set this thing up, let me go to the configuration mode and give you a little bit of that. This particular one I set up today, and I used the programming that I already had, as far as the frequencies and everything on my radio, just for convenience purposes. But when I set this up, I used a Pi 4, and it runs warm. Almost all Pi 4s run warm, even with a heatsink. And that's one thing I don't like about Pi 4. I'd rather use Pi 3. I'm going to show you my other one, because I have to have two. Where's the other one? Here we go. This is my other one. Okay, now if I look at the configuration on this one, this one's in the other room, by the way. far away from me. Whoops, I don't want to factory use that. Okay, you might notice how cool this one's running. And the reason this one runs cool is because it's a Pi Model B Plus. It's not even a Pi 3. This is one of the very old ones. And it works great. It just works perfectly. And this one does not have Wi-Fi, so I have it hardwired right by my my wireless device in the other room. So this is where you configure hang times, and that has to do with how long it waits for another signal to come back before it either goes back to the static talk group, or it goes back to normal, normal mode, just listening mode. And 20 seconds, I believe, actually 40 seconds is what it ends up being, because these numbers are doubled up. But
Dave,
yes.
as a DMR device, can it be used like a normal repeater with a group of guys?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, it can. When you set this thing up, if you set it up as a repeater on here, let's see, there's you could actually install multiple modes. If I enable all these different modes, a radio running D-Star could use this repeater to access D-Star. If I enabled Yaesu, whatever they call it, YSF, Yaesu mode, it would work with AC radios. So these things are incredibly versatile, and it has P25 and DXDN and NXDN, but it also has a way of using Yaesu mode over DMR, or DMR over Yaesu. I can't remember which one's which, but you know what I'm saying. It basically allows you to switch modes, which is crazy cool. So, in other words, I could use my DMR radio, and I could enable, I haven't played with this at all, by the way, I can enable DMR to Yaesu star, whatever they call that mode. If I enable this button, and then I go to the DMR gateway, and I use a prefix, a 7, that'll allow me to talk on Yaesu through DMR. So it's like this allows you to cross mode, basically. It's very, very cool. I have not experimented with that at all.
Is the Yaesu protocol called wires?
I looked it up once. It's like, darn it, I cannot remember.
I think you're right, Bill. I think that's exactly what it is. I've
No,
seen it before.
it's System Fusion.
System Fusion?
Oh, Fusion.
That's
Fusion.
Wires,
System Fusion.
wires,
That's right.
I believe, is ICOM.
Yaesu System Fusion. That's correct. Yes.
Or whatever.
Oh, okay, thanks, Steve.
No problem. Yeah, thank you, Steve.
Or not,
I had that written down somewhere, but I couldn't find it.
Yeah, it's D4 FM, and then Wires X is Yaesu.
Right. So let me say that all of these hotspots, these mega hotspots, the one you buy from Brown, that company, I can never remember their name, that sold me this radio. Yeah, they're all the same. They're all running Pi-Star. Now they might be running different modems. The modem, is less important. I mean, it's just it's just like a radio, basically. But on this thing, when I configure it, if I go down here, I see it shows radio modem type. If I select it, you can see all the different modem types that are available. And many of these are USB. So they're devices that connect to the USB port. So some of these other companies are using different radios. But the main difference is you've got dual hats are basically duplex, and then you have standard hats, which are simplex. And the difference is if I don't select dual hat here, then when I put in it's up here. If I don't select, start over. Okay. If I don't select duplex up here, if I select simplex node, which is what you need to do if you only have one antenna, then you only have one frequency to program, not two, because the one frequency for receive is the same as transmit. And that's what I'm talking about when I say you really can't transmit until that station's clear. And that's what makes it kind of I think that's kind of a weak link in especially when it comes to changing frequencies. Because here's the deal, changing talk groups is if I change channels on my radio to go to a different talk group, I have to transmit to the repeater to tell it to switch talk groups. If that repeater is listening to another talk group, it's not going to hear me. And that's actually true even in duplex mode. But that's where the beauty of the second half of the I'm terrible with remembering names here. The second slot, okay, because what you can do is you can monitor either a different talk group on the second slot, or you can use the second slot even when the first slot's receiving audio on your radio is receiving data from the first slot. You can transmit back to your device on the second slot, and it will hear you, and it will work. So in other words, it switches modes, and then it will work, and you'll be talking on whatever that second slot is programmed for. And that depends on the radio. All the smarts are on the radio. This is one thing that's really hard to. I don't know. It's something that this device, this little repeater seems so smart, but it really has no smarts at all. All the smarts are on the radio. The device just complies with what the radio is putting out there. So I have to have a channel programmed for each talk group, and I'm going to show you a little bit about that too. Do I have any questions? What I've covered so far.
Before you move on, let me see if this is a good analogy, because I can understand this.
Yeah.
Those of us who have crossband, who can put our radio into a crossband repeater mode, basically we know that if there's nobody transmitting it on either frequency, your radio is listening. You transmit to your local radio. It repeats your audio out on the secondary frequency. Right. However, if there's somebody on the secondary frequency, your radio is now repeating that audio to your radio, which means you can't get into your crossband repeater until they stop talking.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes. It's the same kind of thing. Exactly. It's
okay.
So you can only have one. Obviously, you can't talk and transmit and receive at the same time unless you have duplex. And that's what I'm talking about. And okay. So what we're able to do with this, and first I'm going to do is, okay. Let's just go. I hate to bring more into this, but I'm going to anyway. This actually is connected to a server at a place called Brandmeister. I don't know where they came up with their name. Brandmeister. Brandmeister.network is the actual website, okay? And here, let me make this a little more readable and a little bigger. Here, I'm going to log in because it's a free service. You got to have a call sign, and you got to have a DMR number or equivalent, I guess, for other modes. And then you basically can set up your hotspot to be accessible here. So I've got two of them. I mentioned I've got two of them. Here's the fast one. This is Pi-Star 2. Okay. And if I go down here, you can see they have this option for static talk groups. And I'm going to do is I'm going to do a dual screen mode here. I got so many windows. Look at all these windows. My goodness. Let me find the right one. I think this is what I want right here. Okay. So here we are looking at Pi-Star 2, and this is Pi-Star 2. And it doesn't seem very busy right now, but I'm going to make it busy. All I have to do is find the spot here. Okay, this is, let me make this more readable. There we go. I'm going to add talk group 91 onto time slot 1. Okay, and it'll say success. Okay, now you'll start to see, any moment now, you'll start to see new traffic coming through because 91 is virtually busy all the time. And the other one that's virtually busy all the time is 3100, which is Brandmeister's US. It's basically their US talk group, nationwide. Okay, so I put that into time slot 2. And so sometimes, depending upon how busy the internet is, sometimes it takes a moment or two for this to kick in. But we should start seeing traffic. There it is. Okay, here we go. So we just saw some traffic through 3100. It was a 1.6 second transmission. Here's the cool thing. I'll be honest about this. It's both infuriating and wonderful at the same time. And that is, not only do you have a lot of people just keying up all the time, just to, because after all, they might want to set their repeater to listen on that talk group. So you're going to have people keying up all the time. And my radio makes a wonderful noise, which is actually just it acknowledging it received something. Okay. Where's the noise? Oh, I'm on the wrong one. That was 91 that just fired up. Whoops. Went to analog. Can't have that. Worldwide for you. There we are. So here we go. I'm getting a signal. Oh, it was just a very split second. That was KN6 KVH. See, everybody here that does the kerclunking of the repeater is instantly caught. on my little hotspot is recording everybody. So this guy just did a kerchunk, a KN6 KVH in Augusta Court, Hayward, California. Anyway, I thought that's pretty cool in a way. But when they actually start talking, and maybe I'll make conversation. Gosh, I don't know. This is KD6ZJZ. Could I have a radio check, please?
You sound good, KC9MLE.
KC9MLE. Thank you, sir, for the signal report. Appreciate it. KC9MLE, KD6ZJZ. So you still have to identify.
No problem. Anytime. KC9MLE.
Just like real life, just like real radios, we have to identify, even though the thing is identifying for us. It doesn't matter. We always identify, and but it's neat because you can see what's happening. You can actually see people's call signs directly. This guy is obviously not in America. Let's see where he is. West Malaysia. So it really doesn't matter where you are. If you got a ham radio license and you're set up to talk on DMR, and you're on this talk group, you're there. It just works. So I find it kind of interesting and entertaining. Any questions about that? Hands? Okay. Now,
Dave, I have a question.
I have a question.
Sure, Bill.
This is Pete.
Sorry.
Each of the talk groups, are they simplex or duplex?
Each talk group is, you're talking about, it really depends on your radio, okay? They're not duplex, they're simplex. There's only one person talking at a time.
Okay.
You cannot hear more than one person at a time. And you've got to be very careful about quick keying, because if you want to really listen for that tone, for if no other reason, so people can break in, because that still happens, and it can still happen. So you can still have somebody break in between a conversation. Maybe they want to make a call, and I've seen real legit communications happen on DMR. It's not, and sometimes I see what seems like, utter confusion. So it's just really weird. It's a combination of both. I think it really depends on the operator. But, and the other thing is, you might notice, my screen's still up, right? You might notice that on the gateway activity, and there's two columns back on the end here that talk about loss, and that's the packet loss percentage that it encountered, and the bit error rate, which has more to do with how many errors it detects in the transmission. So they're actually two different numbers, but they often kind of go together, in that if there's a problem, this guy here is probably talking on a real repeater. He's probably not on a hotspot. And when he's on, maybe his repeater is not super great as far as location. So he's got not a perfect connection to the repeater, and I can see that from this side, which is really cool. I don't know of any other mode where you can see other people's signal or data loss. I guess it's kind of a digital. You're only ones that are going to have data loss in digital modes. Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay, so I have a question.
Hold on, Bill. Hold on. I'm sorry. I'm terrible.
You say go ahead?
Hold on, Bill.
Okay.
Earl was first. Go ahead, Earl.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the things I've noticed on digital transmissions is it's very easy to fall into the trap of not using your call sign because of the fact that on the radio it brings up your call sign and your name.
Yeah.
People tend to not want to use their call sign verbalized.
Yep.
And that's a trap.
Well, I tend to agree. I mean, that's the way I felt about it when I first started using it. But then I noticed that, believe it or not, almost everybody is IDing, and I mean, some people are harder to understand than others, but I'm hearing a pretty consistent amount of IDing. I'm not seeing a lot of that, so I felt that was going to be the case when I first started playing with it, and it doesn't seem like it is. So it's not, and maybe not as bad as you thought. Go ahead. Who was next? I'm sorry, Bill.
Okay, so I'm going to use the analogy of making a little trip. So let's say I leave home and I have my radio tuned to Mount Edna. And then when I get on the 10 freeway and I go westbound, I get out of range of Edna. So then I'll switch to, say, the Redlands repeater. And I'll maybe have a conversation there, whatever. Right. And then as I continue farther west, let's say I get to the Grapevine and I switch over to a repeater on I forget the name of that mountaintop there, but where the Grapevine is. Right. And then I go over the Grapevine and I drop into the Central Valley, and that's why I might switch to a Fresno repeater or a Bakersfield repeater.
Sure.
Okay, so in other words, the concept is that I'm staying in contact with the locals. Mm-hmm. This is on FM.
Right.
My question is, how do you do that, or is that concept completely obsolete when it comes to DMR? In other words, do you program on the fly when you're changing locations, or is this something you set up on your computer before you even leave on your trip?
Right. This is something you set up on your radio.
Oh.
Which might as well be a computer, okay? Because of the amount of memory and storage and everything the dang thing has. It's amazing. They put I have everybody's name and call sign that's signed up for DMR access. It's like, this asks for a number in the radio. It has room for 200,000, and they call them contacts. But it's using about 160, I think now, 170,000. So it's not going to take too much longer, and they aren't going to fit on there anymore. Which I don't know if that's really an issue, because there's an option. It's kind of a newer option that's becoming more and more universal, where the data of your call sign and your name is actually sent on the fly and received on the fly digitally during the transmission. So it's instead of what it's doing now in most cases is I receive a number. It's like a 7-digit number or something like that. That is their ID, and then my radio has to translate that number to a call sign, and it does that by that list of up to 200,000 contacts. All of that can be done. It's done two different ways. In other words, what I'm telling you is it's done with the list, but it's also done on the fly. And if the on the fly mode isn't supported by the various radios, which a lot of radios don't support it, then you're stuck with the list. So it's kind of when you're receiving the call signs on the fly, it's not going to work all the time, because some radios support that and some don't. Some don't send the data, I guess. So you're not. I'm trying to remember exactly what that mode is called, but it's actually easy to find in the menu. But you can. The one thing that's I think the most confusing. Let me illustrate. I'm going to show you my programming of the radio, because I think this is the best way to illustrate how it works. I don't think that they're much different between radios. I can't bring this up. Why is it being so slow? Oh, here we are. Okay. Make it more full screen. So this is the programming for the programmer for my Anytime UV878, whatever it's called. And basically it starts with, these are channels. This is channel programming here. This has some 4,000 channels, plus a VFOA and VFOB, okay? And I am using them in clusters here. And what I did is when I first set this up, I programmed in, these are all analog. So all this stuff is not DMR, it's just standard old analog. I've got Mount Edna, SPARC 1, SPARC 2, SPARC 4, SPARC 5, SPARC 6. I've got Snow Peak, that doesn't work anymore. I've got EPAP, I've got Killer Peak. I've got all the normal stuff that I normally have on most of my HTs, plus a few other things. Okay, and just when I set up the radio, this is the first thing I did. I added some analog stuff. And then I left a lot of space because I like to do that. And I started at 100 here, and these are all, it's 100 to 116 as I programmed in are repeaters I found in the repeater guide, basically, the online repeater guide. So what I didn't really understand as well as I do now is how the talk groups and the repeaters interact. In other words, if I'm using this Redlands repeater and it actually did work for me, unfortunately it doesn't. If I was to use this repeater on a regular basis, I would have this repeater duplicated several times with different talk groups. And in this case, what I'm seeing here is just one channel, and the only talk group I have on this channel is California. But this repeater would support any of the talk groups. So what I did when I discovered one repeater that had decent connectivity with was this one. I believe this one, let's see, wait a second. Santiago Peak, yeah. So Santiago Peak is this pair right here, 449-0375, 444-0375. This is a digital repeater. You see I have it duplicated 5 times. And I have everything's the same here except the talk group. So here I could listen to Worldwide, I could listen to Oregon, I can listen to Nationwide. These are the two that I say are the most active, 91 and 3100. And there is actually a channel called SPARC. There's actually a talk group called SPARC. And of course it's for a different radio club. But I thought that was interesting, so I went ahead and added that in on this list. But I never heard anything, to be honest, of course. I did hear some data on here on Worldwide. I actually was able to trigger it. I was almost able to make this repeater work. But just this one repeater, I had no luck with really any of the others. I could hear stuff was happening on this one, but I couldn't get into it.
Hey, Dave.
Yes.
Question.
Sure.
I'm going back to basics, okay?
Mm-hmm.
What basically is the advantage, other than in the transceiver in your hand, is probably time division multiplexing up to the repeater and back and so forth.
Right.
What's the difference in usage on that versus something like Echolink tied to the internet and then going to any repeater you so choose over Echolink, and whoever's on that repeater you can switch worldwide.
Sure. Well, it's having the 4,000 different talk groups, I guess. So it's like it's so specialized, and I'm going to get into that a little bit, because when I set it up, like when I set up the radio for Tina, and when I set up her radio, and she's got the same radio I do, and I set up her hotspot with basically the same kind of thing I have here. This is my hotspot, okay? So this is really programmed the same way as the repeater. You might notice I'm using low power. This is because, the hotspot's putting out 10 milliwatts.
Yeah.
So your radio doesn't need any power. You just use the lowest power setting, and it'll work fine throughout the house, obviously. So I just used low, which is the lowest power setting. And then I programmed the same hotspot with all these different talk groups. And just to experiment, some of these... Actually, I did hear, by the way, DMR of Anarchy. It turned out to be like a club that's in the central California area. And I heard these guys talking on there. It's actually kind of interesting. So you know, you just find interesting, fun. It's I don't know, it's neat. But a lot of them are like California and Oregon. There are nets that happen on a regular basis. If you look them up on Marianmeister, you get more information about the different talk groups, and they might have information on the nets. That Oregon, I think Oregon was one that has a DMR net, like tech net every Wednesday or something. So
Good questions, Dave.
Yeah, I stumbled onto that one time. So I'm sorry. Go ahead, Earl.
Yeah.
Question.
Mobile use on DMR
Mm-hmm.
and roaming on DMR.
Right. Well, and the main thing is, it's like you've got this world, and I mean worldwide access, and it's all through the same hardware. It's all through the same radio. It's all through the same repeater. I mean, I see what you're saying. There's not a lot of difference in that, that you can connect repeaters to repeaters and you can get wide coverage, but I can't like get on Ireland in the middle of the night and expect to find Irish people there. But I can with DMR. It's just amazing. So
I guess my questions are, from what I understand, if you're going to do it mobile, you have to be plugged into a cell phone to get into the internet.
Right. You can either that or you have to have a repeater somewhere nearby. Yeah. And yeah, you basically have to have some way of connecting the internet. You could use a hotspot. You can buy, just like a little box that it's a hotspot. It doesn't necessarily have a phone number, but all it is internet access. And you just program your DMR, your Pi-Star to connect to that, using the Wi-Fi connection, and boom, you've got DMR in your car. And then you could use your mobile radio. You could use your handheld radio. It's kind of silly using a mobile radio, I suppose, but you could use whatever radio you've got and talk through DMR in your car, no matter where you are, as long as you have cell coverage.
Well, what's crazy, Dave? What's crazy is on my Android phone, I've got Echolink, okay, and Echolink lists all the repeaters around the world. I can turn on my cell phone right now, dial in a repeater for Australia, and it's 4 p.m. tomorrow there.
Right.
And if somebody's on the repeater, I sit and have a 20-minute conversation with them, okay?
Sure.
I don't understand, other than the digital aspect and the channelization.
Well, what you're talking about is digital anyway.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is I don't understand, because of the complexity of DMR,
right,
how is that an advantage over a simpler version of digital that everybody understands?
I don't really know that it's all that extra complex. I mean, setting it up is complicated.
Yeah.
Once it's set up, it's easy to use.
Okay.
I mean, it's not, I wouldn't, I don't know. I'm just not, I guess maybe the versatility is what I'm pointing out.
Yeah.
And I'm not even sure I know. I'm not the most expert person on DMR, believe me, at all. I've been doing it for maybe 3 months now,
Yeah.
And I was kind of thrust into it just because I was curious, and I happened to have a little extra cash, and I'm like, I got to buy one of these DMR radios. And actually, I'm very happy with this Anytone. Like I say, it's one of the best radios I've ever. The best one made in China, I think I've ever tried. The only thing I don't like about it is it has the belt clip connected to the battery.
Oh, yeah.
Which is dangerous, I guess, right? I don't know. If you wanted to change out batteries, you'd have to have extra belt clips if you want to use a belt clip. Anyway, so this is, let me just I'll show you a little bit about programming here, how it's set up. Because you specify the receive frequency, the transmit frequency. So this is obviously the opposite of what I've got in my hotspot. In order to communicate with it, you tell it I've got a digital channel type, transmit power, bandwidth, just like a regular radio. Transmit permit. You can actually adjust this thing so it won't let you transmit unless there's no, unless the signal's gone. When you have duplex, you don't need that, so I turn it off. You don't need it anyway, to be honest. And then you have your contact. Okay, so this is actually a selection box. This is crazy. But this is a list of all the talk groups, and this is in the radio, and this is updated periodically. So this stuff, I mean, their channels are added and removed all the time, I guess, from what I understand. And you can see there, just look, these are all Russian talk groups.
Jeez.
Okay, so just give you an idea. I mean, the amount of talk groups is crazy. And if I look, in fact, there's an area here where I think we're kind of there, where the U.S. Talk groups are homed. Let me see. I don't know if I'm. So you can see the numbers when you click on them. This is something I don't like about this. I wish I could just enter the number to select the talk group. You can't do that with this software, which is kind of annoying. Anyway, excuse me, my mouth has run dry. So, questions about that? I'm not going to go into too much more about the programming of the radio. I will explain the various parts of the code plug. Okay, everybody talks about code plugs. So, what's in a code plug? Okay, I've got all these channels programmed in, and I had to make duplicates for both. You might notice half of these, let's see, all of these are on slot 2. Oh, wait, maybe not. Let's see. See, this is frustrating for me. They should have a category you can see all the slots. Well, the way I did this is I start with California, and I go back down to California here. These are all these from California to the one before California is slot 2. But then when I get down here to California again, these are all slot 1. Whoops, that's not. In any case, okay. I thought I had different ones, but I guess I don't. I guess the top ones are slot 1. We'll find slot 1s up here. Basically, you have to duplicate every contact for each slot. Okay, this one starts with slot 1. I'm not sure what's going on with that. Anyway, I don't want to do that. I want to cancel. Go away. Okay. I don't want to create a new channel. So basically, you have to have a copy for each slot in order to operate these different talk groups in the different slots. So this makes for even more programming, which is crazy. So this is my Pi-Star 1 programming. If I keep going down, this is my Pi-Star 2 programming. Oops. Yeah, that's Pi-Star 1. This is Pi-Star 2. Yeah. See, I didn't program as many in here. Or is this... Yeah, this is Pi-Star 2. So, see, this one's slot 1. Slot 1, 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 slot 1. Maybe these are all just slot 1. Yeah, these are all just slot 1. Let's move down. I got you. Yeah, here. Oh, those are FRS frequencies. Okay. Here's more. Okay, here they are. So here's slot. This is slot 2, slot 1 and slot 2 of Pi-Star 2. So I think the way it worked was I had 2 different groups for Pi-Star 1. I had 2 different groups for Pi-Star 2. And one is slot 1 and one is slot 2. So this gives me the ability to tune different talk groups on the different slots, so I can switch dynamically. I can switch. Well, if one is busy, I could go to the other slot and I can adjust to the right talk group and then transmit there, and I'm away from the first slot. So this is the key. This is the key in the difference between having duplex and simplex, is you cannot change slots with the radio. You could do it by going to the software. You could do it by actually going in here. You could actually tell the radio to reset. I could tell it, one of these buttons here. It tells it to reset, and it'll stop receiving whatever it's receiving, and then you can transmit to it. So you could actually force it to drop a call. There it is. Drop call in slot 1, drop call in slot 2. So if I click any, if I drop slot 1 on this run, all the slot 1 activity is going to cease because I told it to drop. Now, unfortunately, because I have it's not working because I have these static talk groups set. Let me turn off this. Turn off the static talk group, and now let me drop calls on slot 1. Drop dynamic, yeah. And now slot 1 will stop working, or will stop receiving. I can do the same with this one. I can remove 3100 as a static talk group, and then I can tell it to reset or drop dynamic on slot 2, and now all traffic will cease to this hotspot. And now, because this is hotspot 2, so now if I go to my radio and I pick, let's say, we'll go to California, we'll go to Portugal. Let's go to Portugal. I set this up because of Tina. And I'm going to transmit, and let's see what happens. Oh, look, I'm on talk group 268. Okay, so now I'm receiving talk group 268. And it will for about 40 seconds. I could put out a call. I was hoping there might be some activity, but you know, whatever. I could switch to a different talk group. I could try a different one. The main thing to remember, and that probably is part of what makes this so confusing, let's try Australia, is that when when you do transmit, it listens for only, you know, like I say, about 40 seconds to see if there's anything there. 505. So obviously nobody there. Nobody wants to talk to me. They didn't jump in and say, "Who are you, KD6ZJZ?" Which they could easily do because they could be watching their dashboard. So that's just it's kind of interesting. And like I say, you can do a quick lookup. When you click on it, it brings up the QRZ page. Shows their QRZ page. That's me about 7 years ago. So honest. How do I close this? Okay. So it's what happens with this. Let me show you this really quick. When I configure the hotspot, this part of the configuration down here, it says URL. And if you set the button to auto, it automatically puts in the QRZ page for your QRZ page based on your call sign. So it automatically formats your QRZ page. So you don't have to do anything. All you do is click the auto button and you're set. If you put in manual, then you have to put in your own website. If you had your own website, you want people to go there instead, you can put your own website in that URL, and when you have this selected to manual, and then when they click on your call sign, it'll go to your website. So that's a feature. You can kind of adjust. Obviously, you want to tell it the time zone, the local time zone, the local language. The way the programming of this hotspot works, by the way, is each field is set from the top to the bottom. So when I first set this up, it has nothing set. It's blank. And the first thing that comes up is what control software do you use? And you specify, I have a multi-mode digital voice modem host. I have a duplex repeater, so either one antenna or two antennas. And then you apply your changes. And then this host configuration will come up. This general configuration will come up. And the next thing I'll ask is, it's asking is, what mode do you use, or what mode do you want to use? And you select that with the mode selection. If you have a display on your Pi-Star, you can enable either those little displays that a lot of them come with, as the OLED, or the big Nexton displays, which are larger, that sit on the top. You can specify that, and it'll automatically enable that display. I don't have any display on this device, so I'll just leave it at none. And then you apply those changes, and then you go down to the next configuration window and you start your configuration of the setting of the name of the device, your call sign, your DMR number, your DMR ID number, the radio frequencies the device uses. And they recommend you use at least a 10 megahertz split in the frequency for separation. And I went through the UHF SoCal band plan and discovered, I think it was 441 was like a output of a digital repeater or something. And so I used that for my transmit frequency, and I used this, this also was a digital allocation for the receive, but I believe it was a digital packet allocation or something. So I just tried to stick with digital allocations to get it to, to be more or less, or at least in the correct area of the band. And I was able to find a 10 megahertz split without too much trouble. The longitude and latitude, I actually took this off of QRZ because I already had it set up in QRZ. This really does point to my house. Not sure exactly how you see that. I'm trying to remember. It's very much like QRZ. It just gives you the map mode. Town you live in. This is the format that they tell you to put in there. The country you live in. Again, the URL, which you just set to auto and it works through QRZ. Gets your QRZ page. The modem type. This is again the selection for what type of hat you have on your Pi, or what type of USB device you have for your radio. This is where you specify private or public. Somebody was asking about this. If I want to make this into a public repeater, I can do that just by checking this box. And it will then respond to any DMR code. The way it's set with private is it only responds to my DMR code. So it's a private repeater. And when it's set to public, it'll automatically change call signs and IDs based on what the radio is sending. So, yeah, and I have not played with that at all, of course. There's no reason to, really. You set up your host, which is going to be the one that's closest. There's obviously SoCal is probably the closest APRS host. And then your time zone and your English language. You click apply to that, and all those get set, and then you move on to your DMR configuration. Here, we set up the DMR master. This is actually Brandmeister's server. And Brandmeister has 3 servers: the East Coast, the Central Nation server, and the Western States server, and that's 3103. So 3103 is the most appropriate for us. Hotspot security. This is a password that I put in there that makes sure that nobody else is accessing my stuff. Okay, because obviously if I left this open, somebody could take over my hotspot. We don't want that. So you should put in you have to put in a you don't have to, but best putting in a password. Who knows what kind of nefarious stuff happens on Brandmeister's websites. Anyway, this ESS ID is basically the extended ID of this device. So I initially set this up. I made the mistake of using none, and you don't want to do that. And I read more about it, how it works, and you want to make sure this has a unique number. It shouldn't be the same as your personal ID number. To do that, you just append a number onto it. So my first Pi star was 1, my second Pi star was 2. And then the color code, this only just has to match your radio. So it defaults 1, so that's a good one to use. And I'm not even sure what this does, and I'm not sure why I enabled it. So there you go. Turn this on to dump GPS and talk alias data to a log file.
Dave, I'm going to have to run.
Okay.
So I'm going to sign off to everybody. We'll see you all later.
Okay, take care, Flip.
Okay, catch you guys
I'm almost
later.
done with these descriptions. You know what? It's past 9 o'clock. I'm going to ask if there are any people with questions about all this that I've explained today as I move on here. Okay. Okay, well, you guys want to stick with me. I'll finish this up. So once you get the DMR configuration set, I'm going to change this. You click apply. Okay, and this is actually what happens. So just so you know, It's not instantaneous, okay? In fact, this one's really fast because it's the Pi-Star. It's a Pi 4. So this one comes up faster than most, but it takes a few seconds to reload, and it will reload your data. Okay, so now we're all here, back here again. As you can see, my data dump is turned off. And okay, this is for mobile setup, and this is for GPS, configuring an add-on GPS, I believe, which is not necessary in most cases, I guess, unless you're running APRS. What do they call that? Dashboard access, all this stuff. I really, the only thing that I know about is the universal plug and play. And what I've discovered was I don't have universal plug and play on my router because it's really not safe. But it really doesn't seem like it's necessary. There are some ports that they talk about forwarding to make it work. But in my experience, for whatever reason, it's not really necessary. So just so you know, leaving these set the way they are is probably just fine. SSH access, you definitely want to make that private, because public means that it can be accessible through your gateway, and you don't want that. Of course, your gateway would have to be, your firewall would have to be open to it, but just the same, you leave it private, and you can still access the device SSH, which is necessary if you want to update it. But there's other ways. There are other ways besides SSH, so you could probably turn this off if you wanted to, but actually there is no way to turn it off. So I know you can't turn it off. Anyway, wireless. This is for configuring a wireless networking instead of wired, which is what I'm using right now. And I could configure the Wi-Fi using this button. I'd select the Wi-Fi. That's not the right thing. That's my last pass. Okay, that's very good. I don't know how to turn that off. Okay. Scan the network. That's why you do that. Okay, and then it shows you. No, I'll tell you. I should turn this off for this site. Anyway, worry about that now. So here you'll see, these are all the Wi-Fi. This is so typical of Sun Lakes. Look at all these. All these Wi-Fis. It's picking up. Obviously, this one is Nick and Dave and Nick are the two that belong to us. And Nick and Dave Fast, Nick and Dave and Nick are the three that belong to us. Everything else, look, there's another person named Earl. There's another one, High Speed, okay. Anyway, you could configure your Wi-Fi this way, which is a lot simpler than the default way of configuring your Wi-Fi. Which is basically, well, I'm not going to go into it because it's too late. But when you set up the card initially, you can configure your Wi-Fi by adding a file to the boot card, and then it will automatically connect to your Wi-Fi using the data that's on this file for your connection information. Your password, your node name, and all that stuff is on the file. In order to do that, you actually go to Pi-Star. This is something I should mention anyway. Pi-Star.uk, which is the home of Pi-Star. Okay, and this is obviously English, but they speak the same language we do, which makes things happy. This talks about Pi-Star, how to configure it, how it works, and all that stuff. One of the things it has is this tool, this Pi-Star tool, this Wi-Fi builder. And here you would select your country, you would select your English or US, I guess, right? US, and then you select your SSID. It'd be like, Nick and Dave, whatever. And then I'd put in my password. What I've discovered about this is you could just put in a phony password. I was paranoid that they were grabbing my information, okay? But what this does is it creates a file that you can save, okay? I'm going to save this file right here, but I'll show you, because neither one of these files has my real password information. I will go in here real quick. Let's see. Pi-Star. So here is what it looks like. You just open it. It'll open automatically, I think. Oh, maybe not. Open it with Notepad. Whoa. Here it is. So here's where you would change your password. You see here I used beer, 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 beer. That's not my real password. So, but here I would change to something that's real. And then I'd save this file to the card. And then when the card builds itself and the Pi-Star is installing itself onto the Pi, it'll see this file. It'll go, oh, okay, now I know how to connect to Dave's Wi-Fi. This is the SSID, which it actually is in binary coded. This is not human readable format, but this is the SSID, what it looks like really. I used a fictitious one here. And here's the PSK, the password, the pre-shared key. And here it is in decimal, binary coded decimal probably, which probably means my trick wouldn't work anyway. But you could actually use a BCD converter and figure it out yourself. But anyway, this is how it works. It creates this file and it puts it on there, and that's how you get the Wi-Fi to work without being able to access the device. Obviously, you can't access it without connecting it to the internet or your network somehow. And it's a catch-22 there. So this is how you do it. And that's I don't know. That's all I've got, guys. Do you have any other questions?
Dave, I have a question.
Sure. Go ahead, Teresa.
So that's configuring the Pi-Star, but
Yep.
is this still, does all this information comprise the code plug?
The code plug is yeah. I really didn't have time to go into enough detail on that. The code plug is what's on the radio.
Okay.
And it's actually not just the channels. The zones, which are really within this radio, the zones are just selections of channels. Okay, so when I select the zone up and down on my radio, it'll select the different talk groups. In this case, I'm the different talk groups, the different what's that word? Slots. Okay, so like my Pi-Star 1 slot 1 or T1, I have it whatever, and T2 are basically the two different slots, and then I have channels that are just for those slots that are allocated for each zone. And that's the way I decided was the most convenient way to set it up. And I did the same thing for my second Pi-Star with both slice 1 and slice 2. So I've got 14 channels on. I really don't have a very good selection. I got a big selection of channels just on this one slice. I have to go through and add some more. Now I've got an analog. These are all my analog channels, and they're on a separate zone. A digital repeater zone for the digital repeaters, and then a GMRS FRS zone, only used for emergency communications, of course. But I just thought it'd be handy to have that plugged into the radio, so I did. And then the zones, and you've got the scan list, which is not less important. I don't really play with scanning much. Roaming list, which is less important. This actually has an FM radio built in, like most Chinese handhelds. Don't ask me why. It's frequency offsets, standard frequency offsets. It has roaming channels. I haven't played with this at all, obviously, since those aren't even ham radio frequencies. Everything comes pre-configured, by the way, and you don't really need to make changes unless there's something that that you want to change. But when you come up with this, this is where it gets crazy. The digital contact list, it's so large that it really can't be displayed in one list. So they break it down. It's like, here's the first 20,000, here's the second 20,000, here's the third 20,000. But these are all different call signs, different locations, different. This is like everybody's contact. Okay, this guy's in St. Paul, Minnesota. And where's his call sign? Oh, KD0HEW. And he's DMR ID 3127397. Anyway, this translates all that, and they're all in here. Like I said, there's got something like 160,000, I think is what I remember reading. So here you go. No, they're still going here. So I don't know where it ends. It looks like Germany. These are German allocations here. Anyway. Then you have friends list, which I don't use or haven't played with. Talk alias, which I don't know what that is, to be honest. I don't. Okay, but talk groups, I skipped this somehow. And this had to be loaded. I had to find the list on Brandmeister. Basically the way this works is a lot like every other radio. You basically save it and then you use the base image and add to it. So, it works a lot like every other programming system I've ever played with in that way. And I actually had to go to the hassle of using Excel and changing the identification for each column to match and do data manipulation with Excel in order to get all the information in here the way I wanted. I could not find a list of every contact, for example. I had to compile that myself. So some of this was, I don't know if it's necessary, but a lot of it was built into the radio, and what wasn't, I added, and it just worked. I mean, it really wasn't that hard. The only thing I noticed down here is this encryption code, because DMR is encrypted by nature. So unlike, any other radio, it is encrypted. Everything's encrypted, but you have to use these keys. In other words, the FCC says you can't change encryption keys because they don't want people, talking in encrypted communications, right? So these are always going to always be the same, and this is built into the radio. I do believe you can change it, but you shouldn't change it, obviously. It'd break everything, probably. I have no idea how they use 32 different encryption keys, so I'm not sure how that works, but they're all the same, I noticed. And I just noticed that those encryption codes were in there. But anyway, and then there, of course, is regular analog programming of the radio, which has everything else. I mean, for programming in analog frequencies and stuff. So I don't really have any contacts set up for analog. Programming the radio is, it's not that different than everything else other than these extra things you have to program in. The talk groups, the main thing that really is a pain, and the contact list is a total pain. In fact, this takes like 15 minutes to upload to the radio the first time you do it. After you upload that main list, when it gets updated, they'll add to it and it'll be a lot bigger. But you can take that huge file and upload it again, and the software is smart enough that it only adds the updates. So that happens very quickly. I've only updated Tina's radio. Mine, I still have the contact list, so I put in there when I set up the radio in May or whenever I got the dang thing. So it's probably already behind, on contacts. I don't have all the contacts on here. But like I said, there's another mode where it actually can send the data real time. So, okay, I'm done. Any questions? For the 6 of us that left. There's 7 if you count Dave, which he's there still. So, any other questions, guys? Anything at all? Okay, you guys are being awful quiet. Maybe my speakers are turned down.
I'll say this. My plan is to buy the new Kenwood radio, which is the successor to the one that several of us have, which is the 6 VTR or whatever it's called.
Right.
I'm going to buy the successor to that radio, which is a tri-bander analog, full 5 watts on all bands, but it has a DMR. I guess it's like a dual radio. It can do DMR.
Right.
So that's my next radio that I'm going to buy. And so when I get that, then I guess I'll need to get together with you and decide how I'm going to use it. Like, am I going to operate with like I have this little hotspot right here that I use for. I can take this with me if I want or whatever.
Sure.
So anyway, the point is, I'll probably be consulting you as we go along.
Okay, sure, no problem. If anybody has questions, I'm always happy to help. if there's something I can help with. I mean, I don't charge for that with ham radio guys. If you want me to set up your hotspot or something, I might charge you for that. But if you just have a question about a configuration or something like that, I'll be willing to help you. Especially, I can look at your screen over the phone or over the internet. I'm starting to get a little wacky. So I can help. You know, I'll be able to help you if you need help. I encourage everybody to play with this stuff. I really am getting a kick out of it. I don't get on there a whole lot. I enjoy listening. I'll be honest. It's funny. But there'll be some guy in Ireland talking to some guy in New York, you know, and it's just entertaining to me. So sometimes I'll get on the air, but I get a kick out of listening. And the Talk Group 91, the international one, is very, very busy all the time. So there's that. Okay, I'm going to die here unless I get some more water. Talking too much. Okay, guys, thanks for meeting. Wow, we went overtime by 20 minutes. I guess it's okay when we're virtual. We don't have to worry about being there too late or whatever. Okay, guys, 7-3.
I'm not cleaning up.
Closing out this meeting. Somehow, I'll figure it out. Oh, that's right. I got to stop sharing my screen first. And,
Thank you, Dave. That was awesome.
Oh, well, thank you. Thanks for saying that because it was all impromptu. I had like 2 days to figure it out.
All right.
It flowed well.
Okay, thanks. 7-3.
I'm curious, Dave, what is it that's on your shirt? What are those things on your shirt?
These are captive thumb screw. These are thumb screws for computer thumb screws. This is a theme shirt. Actually, I made somebody a little bit of money by buying a T-shirt on their YouTube channel.
That sounds like a medieval torture device. What exactly?
They're used
what
for.
Exactly
It's well, you know, any kind of a desktop computer for gaming. You open it up a lot. You don't want to use a screwdriver, so they use thumb screws.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and actually, the guy that sold this has another one where he's got like a jail cell, and he's got thumb screws inside the jail cell, and then it says captive thumb screws because some of them stay on. You know, they're capped in.
Okay.
It's a dumb joke. Okay.
Okay. All right. Well, good night, everybody.
7-3, guys.
Night,
Take
guys.
care.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Bye.
Yeah. All right. Close this thing out. Man, that was the longest stream I've ever done, I'm sure. Thanks for everyone watching on YouTube. Hopefully I'm still there. Oh yeah, look at there. Computer is working still. Looking at Brandmeister. All right.